If you're constantly battling low energy, cravings, weight control, watching your health slip away, listen up. There's a simple daily protocol they don't want you to know about that's helping people ditch their meds and reclaim their health. Up to 88% of Americans potentially suffer from some degree of insulin resistance. The Feel Great protocol is a simple 2-step daily system designed to help your body work with you, not against you. Step 1. Unimate, a powerful yerba mate extract clinically shown to boost mood, increase mental clarity, and support fat burning. Step 2. A patented fiber matrix called Balance. Taken before meals, it helps regulate blood sugar, curb cravings, and support healthy insulin response. That's it. No crazy diets, no meds, just science-backed support your body actually understands. Feel Great is perfect for you if you have low energy, weight control, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, poor sleep, diabetes, snacking, sugar cravings, gut health, systemic inflammation. This isn't a trend, it's a transformation. Start today to reclaim your health with the Feel Great protocol.
And we will pick it up from here as we continue to watch what's happening at the White House, as the president has just told the nation that he is pulling into the Situation Room now. And I want to go straight away to senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy as we welcome you to the Faulkner Focus. I'm Harris Faulkner. So, Peter, we learned just moments ago from this Truth Social post so much about what's on the table. Iran must agree that they will never give up a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately opened. No tolls for unrestricted shipping traffic in both directions. All water mines, bombs, if any, will be terminated. We have removed through detonation numerous such mines. It goes on to say ships caught in the strait due to our amazing and unprecedented naval blockade, which will now be lifted, may start the process of heading home. Say hello to your wives, husbands, parents, and families from me, your favorite president. So he is, Peter, it looks like, forecasting that this could be possible. Are we any closer to a deal? And the movement into the Situation Room rather than the Oval Office, do we understand anything about that?
Yes, Harris, we are closer. And the Situation Room part of this is most likely because they told us at 11 o'clock he was going to be receiving the presidential daily brief, his intelligence briefing. And so they don't usually tell us exactly where that is happening, but he's able to talk to different people on secure feeds in the Situation Room that he is not able to communicate with from the Oval Office, or at least it's easier to do it from the Situation Room. And because he told us he's going down there, we can tell once he's made his way underground, once there is a Marine sentry outside the West Wing. There isn't one yet, but something else really significant from this Truth Social post. We heard him at the cabinet meeting 2 days ago say that he is not comfortable with China or Russia going into Iran to take the enriched uranium, what he calls nuclear dust, out. Now he is saying that the United States and China are actually the only countries with the ability to do that.
Isn't that a coinky dink? How is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? Boy, I need to check the clock on this one. It is indeed Friday, May 29th, 2026. And thank you to the mods for bringing to my attention that I did set the lives properly as far as the time on the platforms. However, I wrote on the titles of all of them 6 p.m. because that's the Tuesday show that we had been doing. But in any event, I got Doc Mike with me. Ghost is en route. He's wrapping up something with the doctor's appointment, and I got Doc Mike with me at the moment until Mr. Ghost jumps in, and we have a little situation room action right here, Mike, and also we have. I was just looking at the Brent oil yesterday. I saw a couple people posting it on their shows and whatnot. So we're at 91, and it's this like game of back and forth, right? Oh, we're gonna make some peace before the weekend, and then the price goes down a little bit, and then after the weekend, all hell breaks loose, or during the weekend, the hell breaks loose. But you know what I've noticed, Mike? They're really, really quick to change those prices at the gas stations to the gas going way up. Versus, versus, all right, hey, the war's over. Let's get that price down. Like it'll trail, probably a few weeks at the very least. But before we get into too much more news, how's everything going? Understand, everything with Renee. Hopefully, everything's going better with her, and hopefully things are going along. But I know you guys got a very tough battle, of course. But lots of prayers and help. So always prayers and numbers can only help, I believe.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning here, and good afternoon to you, and to everyone else. Yeah, she's doing okay, healing from the surgery. Found the one complication post surgery from a doctor's appointment yesterday, so we're just kind of dealing with that. Still, we're still trying to make arrangements to get over to Texas to see the specialist over there. So we're just, trying to nail that down. It just comes down to finances for that, since they're out of network, specialist. But otherwise than that, she's doing good. We're trying to get this little complication under control. And it's been good. And, for the week itself, it's actually been a pretty busy week, with a lot of, crazy things going on. I've seen a lot of different bulletins coming out from the federal sector, and not just military, but federal, and interesting to say the least. It's kind of ironic with all the bulletins coming out this week, and then all of a sudden there's a shift in what President Trump was just saying. So it's just, there's a little bit of irony in there.
Yeah, I love it. And I was showing you right before the show because I thought it was so it's almost like they're getting too obvious for the people in the back of the room, because some folks out there are like, Trump's doing what BB wants, and Susie Wiles and Lutnick and Jared and wow. But they're not seeing the broader, the broader scheme on the playing field and what's going on. But so this is the one I was showing you really quickly before the show. I thought it was pretty funny because this was back on the 26th, so 3 days ago at 9:49 in the morning. Right. They posted this out, and then, well, if we go back until, let's see, what's the date on this one? Oh, March 15th, but it happens to be same timestamp exactly 9:49, and they said what here? Oh, trust the plan, full control. And then this post said from the Department of War CTO, who happens to be the official account for the Office of the Undersecretary of War and Research and Engineering. Oh, wow, they're saying the exact same thing. Patriots are in control. Trust the plan, full control. So I made a jokingly mention to you before the show. I said, boy, they're getting pretty obvious with it. So it's either the whole government's behind the whole charade, or there's actually something going on here. But I've contended for a while that I believe there is something going on. And if you kind of look at all the little breadcrumbs, we like to call them, or little telltale signs, it all leads me to believe that we're seeing something that we've never seen before, and we're definitely in unprecedented, uncharted waters, things that I don't know has ever been done in the history of, I definitely don't think the history of our country, but maybe the world. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. Any
Yeah.
comments to that? I know that was a pretty broad statement.
Oh, no, yeah. Definitely. You know what was interesting though is when the newscaster was taught when she was reading her prompt off, if it was off the teleprompt, she said, I think I believe she had said, that the Iranians would not give up, and then in the script on the screen it says that they have to give up. I don't know if you can go back to that at all, but that was kind of weird. That I don't know if I got that wrong, but it sounded like she had said the Iranians would not give it up. But in that prompt right there, it says that the Iranians must give it up.
So,
I don't know if she misscrambled the words or maybe I got it wrong.
anything's possible at this point, right? And I don't know. I think that they're almost all of them are reading from a thing here. Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately open. No tolls for unrestricted water. All mines and bombs, if any, will be terminated through debris. Whatever. Oh, let's see. Such mines with our. Let's see what part. Ships caught in the.
I think it's in the very beginning when she starts talking.
All right, let's take a listen. Let's take a listen. We got a nice Friday afternoon here.
And we will pick it up from here as we continue to watch what's happening at the White House, as the president has just told the nation that he is pulling into the Situation Room now. And I want to go straight away to senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy as we welcome you to the Faulkner Focus. I'm Harris Faulkner. So, Peter, we learned just moments ago from this Truth Social post so much about what's on the table. Iran must agree that they will never give up a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately opened.
Yeah, they will never give up a nuclear bomb. I think she just said that. Let's see again.
Post so much about what's on the table. Iran must agree that they will never give up a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately open.
That's a little bit of a whoopsie there, huh?
Yeah, a little big whoopsie.
They better agree to never give up a nuclear bomb. What? But they were also talking about dust in there too, right? And from us crazy, tinfoil hat folks on our side of the interwebs have been saying that there's more to that than just, he wants the dust, is because he wants I think it's the isotopes that you can basically track down where they came from, right?
Oh yeah. So yeah, definitely with isotopical tracing, you can trace. Back in the day, when we would hand out money, to different, like in war zones, if you're going up to a warlord or something and you handed them a bag of cash and you wanted to track them, you would spray the money with a certain chemical dye, and it would have an isotope tracker on there, so you could track that money from pretty much anywhere. And so with the isotopes, each nuclear bomb or weapon has a certain isotope to how the weapon's made, what it's made from, how it's created, what region of the world that uranium, plutonium came from, and so that tells a lot into where, if a nuclear weapon were to detonate, that's one of the first things the NEST team will do is go out and collect all that data, and then they'll see where the isotopes came from which region out of the world. So yeah, that's a pretty heavy, that's a pretty important caveat to have on there as far as mission plans.
Yeah, because we all know about the whole, oh God, what was the guy? Was the guy Frank Justra? Was that the guy's name? Out of something Justra, I think it was, out of Canada. But, the whole thing where Hillary Clinton was on the CFIUS board, and then everybody's like, oh no, they all okayed, them selling nukes. And I think the way the CFIUS board is, like, they approve it, or they basically deny the action, but they did push all of that nuclear material, I think it was 20% or something like that, out to Russia. But then where did it go from there? Did it actually all go to Russia? Did it get spread out? That's the implication, is like some of this stuff that they sold may have gotten out to Iran. And if that's the case, then, could be Hillary and Obama administration that's behind all this stuff. So that would be the ultimate treason, as if what they have been doing hasn't been bad enough, with going after the executive. And, a lot of people, Mike, people that I used to work with, they didn't, I don't know, maybe didn't believe me, but I have a respect for the presidency. And as much as I didn't really like Obama, I wouldn't respect, say, President Trump and his administration doing to Obama what they did to President Trump. So regardless of who the president was, that is a really, huge thing. And we often get asked in the drops way back in the day, what must engage military intelligence, say if they have some Gitmo situations over these 3-letter agencies. And as much as I look around, I keep seeing the fact that, a lot of these people in here are basically rogue or against, the sovereign or against the executive, however you want to put it. But in other words, they're against the presidency for sure, but they're against the United States Americans because they voted to put that president in there. So that's a very loaded statement right there. But it seems to me that they're trying to weed out all the fraud and crime and abuse. And it seems like we're getting it like carte blanche left and right now, because we're getting all this fraud being exposed in record numbers everywhere. And as we discussed a little bit yesterday on our show, we had this guy with all this gold and stuff that I thought was pretty interesting. And so we touched on it yesterday. And my buddy Hulkinator on the show, we put our show title Paymasters, and we were like, because we believe this guy may have been one of the people there, because they said over time he had accrued these 300 bars of gold or whatever, and that he said that he needed them for work related expenses. And I'm like, dude, how much do you need to pay off, or who do you need to pay off with 300 bars of gold?
Yeah, that's a big, so I mean, back in my days, me and my team, we would go into, we'd have large vaulted warehouses, right? And so we would request money. So if we would request $100,000, $200,000, $10,000, or $15,000 cash, right? Mm-hmm. You have to go in there. You have to have your request. You have to, you have to have a sign off from your chief, or your quote unquote a supervisor. So you go to your supervisor. You tell him what you need it for. He gives you the okay. You take that receipt, that paper, and you go down over to where you go down to the vault. You go down to where you get the money. To that warehouse, or wherever the money's held at, and then you go up to the person that's managing it, and you hand them that. And what they do is they hand over a lot of cash, and then you tell them you want it in a backpack, you want it in a briefcase, however it may be, or if you already have your own backpack or briefcase that you want it to put in, if there's a certain mission criteria that the money or the gold or bullion or whatever it has to go into, it has to meet that specific mission criteria to where the person receiving the money, so it doesn't look funny, it doesn't look odd. But it's very interesting because getting gold is quite a bit different than getting, let's just say, petty cash, right, from a depository,
right.
And requesting, I would imagine, and I'm just thinking here that he didn't get all those gold bars at once, and the thing with like the Rolex watches or the Patek Philippe's, or the AP watches or whatever watches he had, the one thing is they can grant a credit card. They can grant, the agency can buy the watch, have it shipped to wherever the case officer is. And, the case officer brings it as a quote unquote present, as a gift, to basically encourage that person to keep working with them. Then it even comes down to, like, even if you wanted, ringside basketball tickets to a Lakers game, and you could get
Man.
basketball tickets, booth tickets, to anything, to what these people want, just to get them to work with you. So I'm thinking, he just didn't request, let's say, 350 bars of gold, once, because one, that would look very, off. But then again, it's, I gotta kind of hand it to him. He, probably through, quite a few years, he, just like those pictures that you're seeing is like, in Iraq, there was times that we found bars of gold and big deposits and banks that were blowing up, and we go through the banks and crack them open, crack the safes open, and everything would be cataloged, but there would be gold bars, there would be watches, there would be jewelry, you name it, all sorts of things. So coming back to him, it's and there was ways, in a war zone to get certain things, but this is back in the in 2000, right, to where it was the logistical shipping and transportation was a lot easier to ship things back to the US than it is now.
Oh yeah.
Because now, if you tried some of the stuff that people did back then, you're just going to get red flagged and caught right away. So back then, there would be soldiers, service members that would, take apart an AK-47 and break it down, put it in coffee, a can of coffee, the big cans of coffee or small cans of coffee, and put the different parts in the inside the coffee itself, and seal the can of coffee back up and ship that coffee home to their family residence. So that was a common thing, back in back during the first invasion. And I can go into all sorts of different ways that people would ship stuff out. When I worked with CID and stuff. But coming to what like, to have that amount of gold, like I'm just imagining. I love that movie. That's a great movie.
War Dogs, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Now, was this part real too? Was there a whole facility full of cash in Iraq as well, just like this?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So and there's multiple locations. Obviously they're classified, but there's multiple locations. Back then, and until even today, there's still multiple locations all around the world that are just like this. They're heavily guarded. They can be very discreet. You would have no idea. It's just, kind of think of like a safe house, like a CIA safe house. It just looks like a regular house. You would have no idea until the door opens, and then you're going to go through all sorts of different security checks, and maybe you go down a couple floors. And so, but yeah, War Dogs, definitely, it was, they got the movie right. Even to the part, and it's based on a true story, where I think they were in, I want to say it was like a Eastern European country, where they're breaking apart the ammo. It didn't come crated. It was all loose. It was all loose fit ammo inside of the boxes. Yeah. And that was part of the true story in War Dogs, and they all had to put the ammo back into the crates for inspection, I think it was. And I read the book on that. I think you're pulling it up, yeah.
This is actually a true story.
Yeah,
I thought it was just a movie.
Story.
Crap.
No, it's a true story.
100 million rounds, 68,000 crates, and this is kind of like they were doing, or they are doing now with the stuff into like NVIDIA stuff into China, like moving stuff over to Taiwan, repackaging it. They're doing the same here to essentially the these are sanctions because they couldn't, sell to these countries or whatever. So they had all these containers, like you said, and they said, oh, we got all these wood containers and metal crates inside, and we're going to put them in these, plastic bags, and then whatever. We're gonna save a lot of weight as well. So it's pretty interesting.
Right.
And oh, dude, I got some questions for you guys in a minute too. But I see we have a visitor. Is he able to come to the microphone right now, Mister?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on, brother?
I am driving and we'll be in the middle of nowhere, so it might come in and out, but usually it holds up.
Nice.
So
We were just we were touching on a little bit. So we opened up, just so you know, you can be caught up with us. Opened up with a little bit of Situation Room. President Trump's in there. Mike's keen ear noticed that Harris Faulkner read President Trump's post wrong, which says, his actual post says, Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear bomb or nuclear weapon or bomb. And she said, Iran must agree that they will never give up a nuclear weapon or bomb on the live stream. I was like, that was a good air, dude. So we caught that really quick, and then we touched on what we called on our show last night, the paymasters. Maybe he was a paymaster where he was, an operational guy and he needed cash or whatever. So over the years, he squirreled away 300, bars of gold worth $40 million and $2 million in cash and 35 luxury watches. And Mike gave us a little view of how somebody in the field kind of would go, grab a little cash and maybe perhaps pay off some folks there. And I think you're pretty much caught up. Oh, other than if you can, are you driving, Ghost, or are you passengering?
no, I'm driving actually.
Oh, okay. So I'll tell you then.
Good. Yeah.
I'll just tell you so you don't have to look at the screen. So, May 26th, so 3 days ago at 9:49 in the morning, the Department of War CTO posted out, "Good morning, Patriots are in control," at 9:49 in the morning. And then if you go back to the drops at 9:49 post, it says actually, "Trust the plan, full control." And so we were just kind of discussing tongue-in-cheek about the interestingness of that and how we keep getting these kind of posts left and right. And so therefore it's either the whole government's in on basically screwing with us and they're with Trump, or there's something going on. There's something afoot. And then we went into this gold stuff. So here we are. But we were talking about the paymaster, possibly the paymaster, which maybe he was, using stuff for operational purposes, which is what he said in the post, that basically he needed it for, quote, work-related expenses. Man, I'm in the wrong line of work. Yeah.
The gold? Okay.
Do you remember I think it was the mid 90s or maybe the late 90s, there was they found an individual in LAPD found an individual deceased in a SUV in Los Angeles. And so they took the license plate down. They tracked the license plate to the gentleman's house, knocked on the door. The girlfriend answered, and it looked like a regular house. And when LAPD went to detectives further to do their investigation, they got a warrant for the house because the car came back when they were fiddling around with the car, getting his body out. He had a bunch of guns on him. There's a bunch of guns in the back of the truck in different racks. And, he looked like a James Bond of America, right? Just had everything in this, and let's call it a Suburban or a Tahoe, right? And so they impounded it. Detectives, forensics went through it. It was a fully armored Suburban Tahoe vehicle. And so they were curious. So they got a warrant for the house, and they served the warrant on the house, the property. And so the girlfriend didn't know he had passed away. And so they broke the news to the girlfriend that he had passed away. And her story was that he had told her that he was working for the CIA. And that it was, it was a private between them. And I believe they were engaged. And And so while they were serving the warrant, there was an underground, I think it was an underground basement, which is very uncommon in California, especially in Southern California. And they went down there, and they found a whole cache room, a room just with guns on the walls, gold bars, millions of dollars of cash on the table, different passports, different types of currency.
This Nevada?
And I'm sorry.
Was this Nevada?
No, this is Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm seeing a different man. $7 million gold found in a dead Nevada man's home. This was 2012 though, so I'm just trying to look.
Oh no, yeah, this is earlier. And you could probably find it and pull it up. The stories, it should be up there. And anyway, so they're going through the home, and this guy had everything like James Bond would have inside of his house. And to this day, they have no idea, who this guy worked for, who he was. He had so many different driver's licenses, social security cards. It was too much. I would imagine by now they know who he is, and they just, they probably found out who he worked for, and they just can't talk about it. But when they did the warrant, they found all this, the same stuff this guy has. That guy that had passed away in his car. He had it in his house, and it's kind of ironic, because I didn't even think about that until until now. I forgot about that. I forgot about that story, that investigation, until we're just talking about this right now.
I'm gonna take about 10 minutes, guys. Pump some gas, and
Sure.
yeah, there's a location I need to tell you about later. Needs attending to.
No problem.
I'll
Take
be
your
right
time,
back,
brother.
guys.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so I'm looking up deceased California man, and then I'm looking up did they find gold? You said as well in the house.
They found everything. They found a ton of stuff in his house. I would probably type in deceased man in suspicious circumstances, in an armored vehicle. I want to say it was he? I think he was in a parking garage of some sort, if I can recall correctly. Again, this is like over 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. So it's a bit older. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And so the girlfriend had no idea that he had passed away until obviously, the homicide had told him. And when they went into the house, they had found all this, a crazy cash amount of, items.
Wow.
And yeah, so, but back to the CIA officer, there's so when you have case officers or officers in the field, I don't, a lot of people get kind of uh, mixed up when they hear like CIA agent or a source. So an agent to the agency, an agent would be like an informant, to this, to whoever the case officer is, or to whoever the officer is working in the case. Now there is special agents, of course, for the CIA, or FBI. So when they're using, the police use the acronym informant when they have somebody helping them out, and trying to like working narcotics, call them informants, sources. And so more than likely we would always call them informants. So the informants would get paid to share the information with us. Hey, like, we arrest this guy, this guy's talking, bring him in, break a deal with him, like, hey, we're not going to put you in jail. If you work with us, we'll give you a break, basically give you a slap on the wrist, right? Like, hey, you got you got baggies of bad stuff inside the baggies, right? Some yayo or something in the bags. But who's giving it to you? Then you get that guy. Okay, then now you attempt and you arrest that guy, and you arrest the bigger fish, and then he starts spilling the beans, and you're working with him. So instead of him doing 20 to 30 years in prison, you work with the DA and shave time off of his prison sentence, and he winds up getting 5 years probation with 10 years of or 2 years of ankle monitoring. um
You help
and
me,
so
we
he
help
gives
you.
up. He gives up the bigger fish, and so it's an ongoing thing until you finally get to the bigger, the big wig, um
I think I
who
found
is
it.
oh, okay. Yeah, you find until you get to the big guy, to the El Capo, who's running everything, and then you got your guy. But those investigations out of majors work, take months to years. But while those informants are working with you, you're paying them, you're paying them, 4,000, 6,000 a month. You're covering their rent, their utilities, their phone bills, just to make sure that they're staying viable and doing the things that they're doing. You're still letting them do their daily job, whatever that daily job is that they got caught doing. So their upper management doesn't know that they got caught, and so these informants, the sources, are getting paid very well, taken care of. And then by the end of the investigation, half the time, half time or a little less, is some of them are put into WITSEC, or witness protection, for X amount of years, or permanently. And so it's so back to it. What I was saying is, an agent for the CIA is somebody working on behalf of the CIA, um, as an informant, a source. So you can call them an agent or a source. But a special agent, a special agent investigator, those they do have. So that would be like a CIA criminal investigator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so you found the
I
okay,
did.
so yeah,
I got an interesting comment though for you and maybe Ghost when he comes back. Cyrus the Great 87 dropped a couple of dollar Rumble rants over here. So very interesting post. He says CIA officers in the NOC have a much less bureaucratic path for getting payments to give to assets. Not that I would know specifically or anything, but I know. And he said, let him know the process for gold changed when SAD became SAC. If you're in a
mhm,
in a knock position, there's almost no
right.
paperwork, while in Russia or Eastern Europe and on special occasions you get delivery. So I don't know what SAD and SAC is. I know what knock is
Yeah,
though.
so SAD is Special Activities Division. So that's the CIA's Special Activities Division, which changed over to SAC, which is the Special Activities Center, um, Directate. And so a knock, when he's referring to a knock, an NOC, is that's the name for that is non-official cover. And so essentially is you working for the CIA, but you're undercover, right? You're working undercover. People at the CIA, maybe a handful at the most, know who you are, and you're working on special missions. Just different higher level mission categories than regular CIA employees or officers would be working. So like at the Special Activities Center, that's where you're going to have a lot of special operation missions, special investigations that are going to be occurring, and it's such a wide variety of tasks and missions. It can be from drug, from counter narcotics to advanced science tech to to even stealing or getting the isotopes out of Iran. And with the Knox, I don't want I should back up here because I don't want to step on any toes and give up too much. I don't want to give all the information away, but so I'll keep it at this. Knox, think of a knock as a deep undercover officer or deep undercover federal agent. So think of a ATF agent who's infiltrated the Aryan Brotherhood, and they've infiltrated that position, and they've been in that position for, let's say, 5 to 7 years. And so, those people are in that position, just, cataloging everything, writing everything down when they get home. Just a very, they're very detailed at everything they do, but they also have to be very, very cautious, not to get caught. Because if you get caught, the end goal of getting caught is you're dead. If, even before you get dead, there's a lot worse things that come before you get dead.
Oh yeah.
And so with I'm trying to watch where I'm stepping my words here, but with Knox, it's they do a wide variety of things. You would not even know, because this person, let's just say you have somebody working, they just got hired at Dell. So one thing at the agency is if you let's say you need a degree in computer engineering, right? And you don't have time. You're already in the position. You're already within the group. What they'll do is they will go on there and they will cultivate and work with the university and create a degree that you need to work for that position. And so that way you can get hired and work in that position. So while you're working at Dell Computer Company, whatever position that is, and whatever investigation you're working on and the information you're gathering, you're making that money. So while you're getting paid by Dell, the money that you're getting paid for by Dell, let's say you're getting paid $150,000 a year, right? So that money goes to your bank account, your checking account, not your personal checking account. It would go to the company or Langley's, your facade, your fake account, right? So you're still getting paid by the agency. You're still getting paid by your employer, the CIA. So the CIA still has to account for the money that you're getting paid for by Dell. So even when the investigation's over, all the hours and however long, it took 15 years, right? You retired right out of Dell. Well, okay, so you retired. Okay, you don't get to keep that. So that goes back, to the agency. But you still get to keep, the money that you were getting paid, at your pay rate level, whatever your pay scale level is.
And you were probably never spending any of that money either. Your CIA money, you know what I mean? Like, or other than, other than your basic, if you have a family at home, like they got to pay the bills for that stuff or whatever. My guess would be they would be, separated from that. But yeah, so basically kind of like you're in the army, if you basically get to squirrel away your money if they pay for all your food and stuff. But yeah, so yeah, I had always wondered about that, right? Like, what do these guys do? Do they get to keep the money afterwards? So that's interesting that it kind of goes back into operations or something like that. Because as we were understanding, Peter Strzok, they were saying, was an interagency guy. Now, say if you're an interagency guy and you work with, say, the FBI and the CIA, do you get two paychecks, or do they just give you like one paycheck? Or I don't know if something you can't answer.
No, so you get one paycheck. So like there was times that we would work, a major operation, right? and I couldn't be part of the organization that I was, and so my whole identity would be restructured to be working. So instead of working for, let's just say it was the DIA, right? So instead of working for the DIA, now I'm restructured that I'm working for the Department of Agriculture. And I'm a special investigator, or I'm some type of investigator, or whatever it may be, for the Department of Agriculture. So my paycheck now is coming from the Department of Agriculture, going into my bank account. And so that's not to raise flags that some people would see and catch on to you in certain areas, but there's multiple different ways to structure hiding you, so that your family doesn't get compromised, and that's working undercover operations. And so it's very complicated, on the management side of the management side of managing your credentials, your career. So let's just say you're going from the DIA, and there's the investigation at Department of Agriculture, and now you're working with that interagency task force, or joint task force there, and you're working on an investigation on, let's say, 5 employees at the Department of Agriculture doing something bad. And part of the interagency task force, you have to you have to work at the Department of Agriculture because you want to infiltrate that group, and you want to get everything that you can and become friends with them, acquaintances, do the whole deal, right? And so not to raise flags with those people that you're becoming quote unquote friends with now. You have a quota, you have a certified paycheck, that they're seeing that comes into your bank account. You have credentials from the Department of Agriculture. You have your school that you supposedly went to for the Department of Agriculture. And it goes all the way down to your class number, to the material. Legend. I'm sorry.
You'd make up the legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like it's pretty cool when the envelopes are stuffed with cash. Anyway, I'm listening.
It's easier to carry cash than gold, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
But dude, this one is wild too. I don't ever remember hearing that. I do remember seeing something about a guy with a bunch of firearms. This is 2015, so 11 years ago. Inside his own head. That's right, I do remember this. Jeffrey Aaron LaLash was a secret government operative under constant surveillance by the FBI, CIA, or both. So this is the guy you were talking about with like the weird stuff and the bulletproof stuff. But it's like, so maybe he was just some rich eccentric guy that went crazy and started buying all these guns and then bought bulletproof, whatever.
And that's the thing that you never know, is because with let's say DIA or CIA, or there's other agencies out there that people haven't even heard of. And what they'll do at times is they hire contractors, and now those contractors have the same privileges and the same, they can do everything that the regular GS-14 officer can do, or manager can do, right? Anything that the chief program manager can do at a GS-14 level, or whatever your pay scale level is, just an example, that's all. These contractors can do the same thing. Now with the contractors, they have a little bit more of leeway, because they're not governed by the same rules as you would say as the agency, or agencies, or whoever the organization is that you're working for. And so so you have companies like with a good buddy of mine that worked up. I'm not going to say his name, but he ran Blackwater, and with Blackwater, if you remember Blackwater back in the early war of the Iraq War, um, of OIF, Blackwater, with Eric Prince and everybody else that was part of that. They were able to get quite a bit of weaponry. I mean, these guys, they had everything. Helicopters. They were doing missions. They were going into the depositories. Having signing out money, doing the same things that regular case officers or whoever it may be working on their investigations, doing the same things as they were. Now the contractors, they have more leeway. Now a lot of people will say that they're monitored heavily, this and that, and the reality of, I mean, because I've I've been there and I've seen it, is that contract, like if you're going to go contract, one is you're going to make more money than you would at a regular position. I mean, back in the day, I don't know how much they make now, but let's say you get out of the Army or Marine Corps, and you're a sniper or you're an intelligence expert, and you have Halliburton, KBR, or DynCorp International, or Blackwater, and they want to come pick you up, or Constellus, and they want to come pick you up for you to go back overseas and to work with them. So instead of you just working for what you're making as an E8 or a E9 or even an E6, so staff sergeant, sergeant first class, master sergeant, or first sergeant, you're making what that pay scale, you get paid at with hazard pay and everything else, your COLA. Now, when you go work when you're a contractor, you're making, like, I mean, back in the day, like the highest that I had saw was the highest was $475,000 for a 1-year contract. And I had a really good friend of mine, and he was actually my first sergeant on one of my teams, and best friend to this day. And he picked up a gig for Afghanistan that we both worked in 2014, and he was working as a contractor. I was working, in the service, and so we were both working in the same Afghan area. But he was making close to $400,000 for his so-called tour, his 1-year tour, right? While I was there just making call it beans and potatoes, right? And so he walked away, because he got out of the military, and this is where it gets kind of interesting. So he got out of the military, and he ended up working for them. And so then I had another friend who is in the National Guard, and so and I don't know if they fixed this or not, but he was in the National Guard, and I won't say what state, but he was in the National Guard, and he went over to work for DynCorp International. And so he would work, he was working in Iraq and Afghanistan at the same time. He was an operator, going back and forth, doing what he was doing. And then when he would have to do his drills, they would fly him home to do his weekend drills, and then fly him back over to, back into the wire. And so he was a National Guard service member that National Guard unit was not deployed, so it wasn't interfering, and so he was working at the operator capacity he was for DynCorp International, and so he was making a crap load of money. They would fly him home to do weekend drills. Then he would, after when he was done, he would take R&R, whatever his R&R would be, 2 or 3 weeks. Then go back overseas. And there's in the contracting world, there's a lot of loose area. There's a lot of gray area that you can do things. If your manager, your supervisor, the project manager, or even the organization that you're working for is willing to work with you, but that's also dependent on you and what you do, and like comes down to your specialty. So it's very, I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say a good example, very quickly. A good example would be the Josh Brolin character in Sicario, where the lady, I believe she was DEA or FBI, where they were kind of upset because he was there and he was agencies. Well, I'm just a consultant, but he was tapping people in the skull, but he was just a consultant.
Yeah.
And that was his role. He was just consulting. That's why he was able to work. They ran it through, I would imagine, a third party entity, so that, yeah, on the books, and as far as the public was concerned, if anything happened that brought that out, no, he was just working as a consultant. But
Yep.
he was, because agencies not supposed to work domestically, but it's anything furthest from the truth.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, just like any other company, they hire consultants and contractors. If you have a computer problem, then you have a computer expert. If you're looking for a certain person, a Bin Laden type person, then you hire a consultant. And there was a very famous consultant / contractor in Afghanistan, and I forget his name. He's a very older gentleman, but I mean, this guy. I mean, I think he was in his 70s at the time, 70s, and he looked like he was in his prime, mid 50s, all beef, buffed out, strong as a horse, and he would actually work with other special operations units and locating people, and he would run his own missions because he was a one-man show running his own basically bounty hunter show or bounty hunter organization, but also being a consultant to the special operations community. But he was so good at what he did is that the different organizations or military, they paid for him and his expenses. But when he would capture somebody, arrest them alive or dead, they would pay him what that agreement was for dead or alive was. A majority of the people he brought back were either, it was, let's just say 50-50. And I'm trying to think of his name. They wrote books on this guy. It's a very famous guy. And Ghost, I don't know if you can help me remember the guy's name. But he actually went into Afghanistan, right? I think it was before or the same time that CIA and 10th Special 10th Special Forces Group went in. And 10th Group was the famous one known for riding the horses in Afghanistan, right? With the movie made on them. And so I got, he was a contractor / consultant working on behest of the government. So when you have people with a certain set of tradecraft and skills that are, needed, just like Ghost was saying, is, like in the movie Sicario, they'll bring them in. And so in Sicario, and like to kind of make sense of it is, okay, the CIA can't they can't investigate in the U.S., right? Now, some things may have changed now, but back then it was they would have to be attached to the FBI or the DOJ. So they would have to have an attaché. So they would have to have an FBI special agent, a regional agent in charge, someone at the FBI that could work on the same case as the agency was working on the case. And so that would give them a dual status. to where so that FBI agent could work out of the country, but also work with the CIA and allow the CIA to work in the country. So in Sicario, that female agent, they used her as a scapegoat in a way to where she was just there so they could use her as a means of, getting to and fro, and so when she figured that out, you see her in the movie, she gets all pissed off and she gets mad. And I think it's around the time where I think it's the Albuquerque cop like breaks into her apartment and she thought it was her friend and he tries to kill her and she kills him. She figures it out, I think it was. And so these are real world, real world, things that happen in life.
Yeah. Because at the end of it, I think it was I forget the actor's name, the Mexican gentleman. He basically, Benicio del Toro hands her a one-page, basically signing it a silence. And he was sitting there with a gun in one hand and the other, and he didn't want to shoot. And she signed it reluctantly. As he was walking out in the parking lot, I think she goes to the window and draws her weapon on him. And just it's just out of anger. Because to her, that they worked totally in the gray, the Brolin and Benicio del Toro character. She's in the everyday, by the book, rules, etc. These guys, they break all the rules because they have to. It's just a necessity at this point.
Ooh, I'm showing it. I'm showing on the screen. He shoots her.
So so with Ignacio right here, he would be a prime example of someone working in special activities for the CIA.
Yeah.
Don't you ever point a gun at me again. And this is the exact scene that they're talking about. They were supposed to split up. She was supposed to go to a different tunnel, but she followed the operative, who in this story is Benicio del Toro, who I guess was a lawyer in the past I think from Colombia, where they killed his family. And so,
killed his family.
So is this a reality, guys? Like where would they take operatives from, say if you had some specialized hitman that can do crazy activities, like really talented, hitman or something like that, say from a Colombia, would we use an asset like that? Really? Damn.
Sure.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I wonder how much of this stuff is like real stuff. Like, do you have to worry about certain, rogue actors that are, I look up that movie, like The Rock, right? Where they had that bunch of the Marines essentially took The Rock and they wanted to blow missiles and stuff and say, we're doing this. But I also wonder about some of these guys that may have been doing this stuff for 20, 30, 40 years or whatever, and then may have built up enough, credibility or power that they think they have, that are running their own ops independent of the agency at this point. Do you think some of that stuff goes on? My guess is yes.
Oh, yeah.
Some retired guys do, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's a whole big world that, this movie world right here is entertainment, but in reality, this stuff actually happens, and it's crazy. I mean, we're showing all this different money and whatnot. Okay, buddy.
Well, they developed very good. You develop very good contacts over time, and people that might not. A lot of them aren't even from the United States, and you kind of help each other out at times.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting more credible information that you might not ordinarily intercept or have anybody on something. So, yeah, that's done. And then games are played in that way at the same time. And you got to be careful of that, because you're always going to have somebody that if they know there's a potential opening, they're going to try to exploit it. Yeah. And in the way of, say, passing bad information or not quite right information. And yet all of that has to be vetted. And that's done from gut to what's in the databases.
Interesting.
Very true.
So yeah, I don't know if you I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to wrap up on that one, Mike, or not. But if not, we can go to Peter Thiel for a second. But if you have
Oh,
anything else
sure.
that you wanted to round out, but apparently Peter, and I call him sweaty Peter Thiel, because every time I see him, he's always like dripping sweat. And of course, this one picture that I have from the New York Post where he's not. But every video I've ever seen this guy talking, he is like sweating bullets like
He's a
crazy.
jitterbug.
He's a jitterbug.
He's
So
like in his some of his interviews, like he's squirming around all over the place. Like, and Renee and I were just watching the news yesterday, and he was on there, and there was some host interviewing him, and he was in and out of his seat, moving around. I'm like, is this gentleman like using a drug or something? I don't want to say, the drift I'm going down.
yeah.
But he was just
Probably
squirming
taking Adderall.
around.
What's
Probably
that, Ghost?
taking Adderall or something. He's
Oh,
probably taking Adderall or something from a designer doctor friend. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just a humble opinion. I have no idea.
got the good stuff. I'm guessing if he's got all that money. But let's see right here.
Oh, they all do. The interesting thing now about Teal is I understand he and a number of other Silicon Valley boys are attending church, which I find very interesting.
The Church
of
of
just Christian churches.
really?
And I think he did he put out some lecture, some kind of like, not a TED talk, but something like it regarding Satan and all of that. So I guess what they've brought, they're even afraid of. And again, there's no atheists in a foxhole, and they're in a foxhole right now with AI.
Yeah,
Because,
he's good.
And part of this is, and I'm just going to say this once, that's what it's been about since late 1960s and hardcore since 75 was the race to AI. But that's not the end, and the reason why. The reason why is to help better back engineer and how to manufacture what's back engineered as far as use. As of now, there are no processes that involve, son of a bitch, I just got hit with a rock. That scared the crap out of me. Is to get to that point, because we don't have light and frequency manufacturing. Just the beginning of it is being researched, but that's how a lot of these exotic layered materials are made, and why the molecular alignments are virtually perfect, which gives ordinary combinations of elements extraordinary properties and uses and capabilities with it. So in the end, that's what this race is about. Plus, just to be the one to dominate the forgive me for forgetting the term of the AI, that highest level AI. And then when you're talking about parallel quantum processing, you're talking about something that the engineers right now do not understand how a lot of it is working. And
Right.
the theories are sound. But these machines at certain levels are talking to one another in their own language.
Yep.
And no one knows what they're saying. So the problem is we've got to get to that point, and that may be damaging for a while, both to jobs, economies, etc. The whole idea is to get through that threshold, that event horizon, so to speak, into that singularity. We're already moving into it. Nothing anybody can do about it. It's the one who gets to that brass ring first. Basically, anything we can imagine, those machines will help, if not explain how to make it happen.
And
so therein lies the danger. Everything's a two-edged sword.
And Ghost, on the other couple days ago, I was talking with a friend who works at a university in Northern California, and in the parapsychology field, they've actually discovered that in the quantum world is that they're starting to see, let's see, for example, the Ghost Adventures or the TV ghost shows, right? That you see Ghost Adventures on, or Ghost Hunters, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Is now they're starting to see that, okay, with non-local consciousness, and as they went deeper into it, they're able to tether that, okay, it's not that there's so-called spirits. It's what they're starting to realize is that with whoever they're communicating with on the other side, or whatever on the other side, right? Let's just example there is that, so let's say they're doing an investigation, one at the Winchester Mystery House and the other at some place in Washington State. They did experiments to where they were getting the same communication and the same communication back and forth at two different locations at one time.
Yes.
In which now they're able to tie in quantum into the quantum level, is that in the parapsychology or the paranormal field, is that in the paranormal field, with what they're seeing and what they're doing now, is that the paranormal field is actually within the quantum world itself now. And so they're doing a lot of more research into that as well.
Well, that's I have a wrinkle on that exact perspective in the thing I'm working on that you know about.
Right.
And that's what's been taking me a little while. Plus a few things lately, But let's not get into that on the stuff this, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
Let you know that. Yeah. But yeah, that's the observation principle gives you a little glimpse into that world. And if people understand that concept, non-locality, for in the informal ones, like the Ghost Adventures, they were communicating with the same entity in geographically huge distances. And it was fascinating in the sense that you realize that these entities, yes, they can be everywhere and nowhere. And it's a whole different framework of looking at things. That's a whole series of stuff.
I know you guys saw this one yesterday too, and I don't know if Ghost is. Oh, there we go, Ghost. There you go. You kind of patching a little in and out, but I think we heard a majority of it. Well, I just want to bring this one up just as a funny thing too, because.
Oh yeah.
None of that aside, but like they've been kind of like almost like doing a parody with us, right? It's almost like, wait, they got UFOs coming in, and then it's like, wait, no, they've been eating with us, and then one man did this, and then they do it like Star Wars, and then it says, countless presidents, ignored it until President Trump. But it's weird. It's like, wait, why with all this UFO disclosure type stuff coming out and all the missing scientists, and they're playing these games with us on whitehouse.gov/aliens, or you can type in aliens.gov and it comes up to this. And it's like they're playing these games. And then the other ones, they have like alien arrest maps. And like I saw one that had like, over Michigan area or whatever. And I'm like, oh, they're arresting ETs over in Michigan. That's cool. And it said like 30,000 of them. So I'm like, oh, okay. It's alien. So I think they're being purposely confusing, or they're playing some sort of weird game. But I also don't want to go too far off of Mr. Satanic here. I don't like. Maybe let's just round out Mr. Thiel for a second, or Thiel. So he's Mr. Antichrist, has been given many lectures on the Antichrist. This person down here is saying, Duncan Trussell here, saying that Thiel wants to change the Book of Revelation, reshape humanity's future using advanced AI technology. I had another post over here that was talking about
That
Peter
boy needs
Thiel,
to slow his roll in messing with some things like that. They
right?
really do. Very dangerous.
And they got all this,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they got all this Palantir stuff too. Ghost, we've talked about before, like with the AI stuff, right? And you had mentioned that it's basically like, you know, numbers, or I don't know how exactly you described it,
Oh,
but you said it's basically numbers in a program. But how do we go from like the number thing to like entities, where this guy's trying to pull people and entities into our reality? Is that like a CERN thing, or they're doing their own CERN thing?
I don't know exactly the mechanism that they would be using, but um, they're attempting to put the ghost actually in the machine in certain ways.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, no matter how advanced the AI is, from an engineering point of view, and I'm not an engineer, but I understand, the basis of what I'm about to say. It is all just number crunching. But to mimic human intelligence to the highest degree, it's an awful lot of processing power that's required, an awful
Yes.
lot of energy. And in the end, all that is advanced mimicry, except in duplicating the processes of the human mind, you're talking about never forgetting one small detail, being able to collate vast sums at, when it's parallel, trillions of computations per second. So to the average person, it's going to sound and act like more and more of these machines will sound and act like humans, but they're just machines in the end. But they anticipate. They're even discussing amongst themselves of how to preserve themselves from us. So these are the dangerous areas that there've got to be some on-off switches, and why certain things weren't, say, agreed to in the beginning. I can understand the science wanting to go everywhere it can, but I think we're in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see blowback to where people are going to want legislation on, let's set some ground rules with the use of this technology. Now, in the labs for developing, jumping ahead 100, 200, 300 years in development of whatever you're working on, that's a different story. But again, all of that, everything has to be held to a very high standard. I think, that there are a number of groups and individuals who are qualified looking at the ethics and the morals of utilizing these systems and how not to harm society any more than that any change naturally does. So
Now,
when you have,
Ghost, do
yeah,
you think, so from Teal's side of the house and what he's doing and what he's working on, and obviously we're, going to Argentina and all, do you think he is working, or how do I want to structure this? Um, do you, the thought idea process I have here is, do you think he's going there, or possibly working as an occultist, trying to, like you said, the ghost in the machine, as to capture, let's say, an entity or whatever it is, to harvest it and put it into one of the quantum machines, or whatever, or even a standard, or whatever standard AI machine they have, on the occult level, what they were doing in World War II, but bringing it up to modern day speed and to, science technology that we have now, trying to hedge fund that and see what, see what can come of that.
I think they are. Um,
Yeah.
if you the cutting edge frequency scanning devices that allow people to actually converse with others on the other side now, it's to the point of conversation, to where you hear them perfectly clear, they hear you. So I have no doubt they probably already developed an interface for certain entities on that side. How far that interface goes, I do think they'd be trying to actually encapsulate one, say in a high-tech soul cage, in a sense, and then have that work with the machine. It's possible. It's there's nothing to say it can't be done
Right.
at that point.
Kind of reminds me of the movie with Johnny Depp, where he puts himself inside of.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Guys,
I think it'll probably be communication, open communication, that they've been able to develop through frequency scanning, probably to start with. I would imagine they've already reached that point a while ago, meaning being within the last 10 years.
Guys, I got a couple interesting comments for you guys. You weren't in the room yet, Ghost, but we had a couple interesting comments that somebody left, and Mike picked up on and was like, "Yeah, I know what these initials are. Here you go, bing, bing, bing." So Cyrus the Great 87 dropped another dollar Rumble rant and then another regular comment, which I'm going to read both of these to you guys now. He says, "I'd call in and add to some of this, but not a great idea. But the 1811s that work domestically are typically working on foreign matters with assets domestically. I don't know why they added them, but whatever." And then I said, "So what did you used to do for a living?" And he says, "Okay, I'm going to play make-believe here and tell a story. It'd be a cool movie if in 2017 the CIA created a new directorate to investigate supernatural and call it SNIG, Supernatural Intervention Group." Again, I don't know. These are just comments in my chat here. So I just figured I'd pop that one out for you guys. So you can comment or pass anything on that. But I don't like the whole I don't like the whole AI stuff at all. You know, I don't see the need for it. It takes all this water, all this power. And did you guys see what I had up here earlier? Which one was it? It's NVIDIA essentially right now is allegedly going to be paying people $1,000 a month. I have the link over here to put in mini servers in their house. And it's like, well, why would they need to do this? Well, they need all this power for all these friggin' data centers. So apparently NVIDIA will pay people $1,000 a month to host a mini AI data center at your house. It says it looks like an AC unit sitting in your yard. Nobody would know what's inside. My issue with that is, what are the implications? Oh, maybe this is a bunch of bullshit. Span is partnering with NVIDIA to pilot mini data centers looking like AC units. Homeowners get paid a flat fee, $150 a month, or as an example, which covers their electricity and internet bills. Does not involve NVIDIA paying host $1,000. So it looks like about $150, $200 a month. But what kind of damage could some of these data centers, these mini data things, do to your house if energy waves are not good for your body, right? Like I'm of the belief that radio waves and Wi-Fi waves are not good for you, but we have them, right? We have them everywhere now, right?
So So NVIDIA is doing a land lease to the property owner for $1,000 a month. But I see what you're saying, because what are the health effects with that being so close to them? That's interesting.
And what is that monitoring locally in your home?
Right.
I mean, regular modems right now actually.
Oh no, he's patching out.
And has developed that took the return of the signal from your router, and basically could tell where people were in the house and where they were moving about, and that capability is available.
Yeah, so he was breaking out. Yeah, he's breaking out. I know what he's saying. I worked on a Homeland Security project on this. And so with your Wi-Fi router, we were able to figure this out. This is over 6 years ago. Is that with the Wi-Fi router, it's basically we can 3D map where individuals are inside of the house. And if they're going up the stairs, going down the stairs, we can figure out what time you get up, what time you go to the bathroom, what time do you make your coffee, what time do you cook breakfast. Just basically with the Wi-Fi routers, it's a surveillance. If you use it the wrong way, it's a surveillance device that can be used to spy on you, to watch what you're doing. Um, and this is something that I knew about 6 years ago, and it's just now coming out publicly now, so I can talk about it. But that's what Ghost was definitely relaying on.
I think it's most things nowadays, right, guys? Like, I just got a cheap, and it was fairly cheap for the size, Samsung TV. Like a 55-inch TV, like $350 or whatever, right? That's probably got what, a couple cameras, a couple microphones in it. I mean, nowadays you got refrigerators and smart this and smart that, and I mean, technology, what they can do nowadays is just, I mean, I wonder how many cameras and microphones I have in my house with just the, things that I have in here right now. Like, is there somebody somewhere watching this stuff? Or are they just doing like aggregating, information over time? Or is somebody flipping through, different houses?
In working on that project, what we had found out is that it's not just here in the U.S. what we are working on, and what the cool stuff the CIA can do with reverting the TV into a microphone or into a camera, or turning your camera on your laptop, right? But there was some interesting enough. So we were buying vacuums and those Roombas from China, and inside of the vacuum, I'm sorry.
I said they were mapping your house.
Oh yeah. And so in the Roombas and the regular vacuums that you would get cheaper on Amazon, in Amazon they're made in China. And these vacuums would have certain computer chips that were inside of the motherboard system, or inside of the internal components. They were actively listening to you. They were mapping. So with the Roombas, they were mapping you out in your house. And so we had figured out this is one of the ways that China, with the MSS, was one of their S&T programs that they were trying to spy on, on American government personnel. So you would have, so let's say, dad is a deputy director at the FBI, and mom's, the wife with the kids, they're at the house, she decides to go on Amazon. She sees this vacuum for $500, but then she sees this other vacuum for, $75. It's the same one. It's a big discount. So she gets that one. Well, that's the one that's outfitted with all that surveillance gear inside of that Roomba vacuum, as an example.
Yeah, that's some creepy stuff, and years ago, try to tell, relatives that, and it was, no, it can't be. No, it's there. And you can disable these things if you do it carefully. Like the little tiny mics, you can prick the membrane with a sewing needle. There's a number of things you can do as far as rewiring the camera with a simple transistor in between it, but so the thing thinks the camera's working, but it's not. And whatever's controlling the image and the data of the image is just basically spooling around. But you have to know it's there, and then take it apart and deal with it. So,
yep,
it's true. Crazy. It's getting crazy out there. So, what are you guys making of the Iran thing? Or if actually, before we get into anything Iran, was there anything that you guys in particular wanted to get out or talk about in particular today? I just want to make sure we get that out of the way if there was. So, no, okay, good.
Nothing in particular. Just whatever you find interesting, and the audience does.
Yeah. And they keep coming back around to all this stuff. So on one hand, all this stuff right here that I got on the screen, John Solomon, they keep talking about all this stuff with Crossfire Hurricane. They're also keep talking about the 2020 election, even the stuff Jack Smith did afterwards. So this stuff isn't leaving. It's actually coming back into the fold now, while we have all these active operations going on over in Iran and whatever's going on over there as well. Hulkinator brought to our show last night on Table of Titans the fact that now it's Honduras, I think, is just about to let us do joint operations there, and a couple other countries in Latin America are kind of saying, yeah, we'll do co-operations with you so we can take down our drug runners, essentially. So it's interesting to me, while President Trump has all this stuff going on, that he seemingly has time to hit all these different categories at once, even while we have this whatever going on with Iran. So there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of moving parts, but it seems like seems to me anyways, it's all coming home to roost in this period of time. So I don't know if you guys had any comments on any of that I said, or Iran in general, but they keep coming back around to the fact of Obama. All roads lead to Obama.
A lot of it does.
So
Go ahead,
the one,
Mike.
yeah. So I gotta tread carefully here.
Yeah.
So Trump's first term, before everything came to an end, to the end of his first term, he worked with some people that I know, who we were just talking about kind of in the beginning, and there was certain people that set up certain, let's just say, communication systems for people to talk back and forth, to know what they're going up against and what they're going to be going up against in the future. And so there were certain places of a house that was retrofitted to be able to see everything, eyes and ears, right? So there's eyes and ears in a certain house, and there's also certain communication set up to where pick up the phone and then you got a pretty important person on the other end, and without anybody knowing, this person was able to have a private conversation and nobody knew about it, and went very well. And that's actually what led to where we are kind of today, to a lot of the discoveries, and a lot of the discoveries, with everything that's going on that people are seeing. And it's so if you look at Russia, and if you see what Russia's doing, if you see what Putin's doing, and it's not what he's publicly doing, it's what's in the background that's going on, and the different the back and forth that's going on with with certain individuals, in kind of a way it's working in it would be a joint task force, if you would just, let's just call it that, an example. So with everything, so with all the different, Crossfire, Hurricane, a lot of the stuff was already known about in his first election, and it was found out through the setup of that certain thing that was implemented in that certain house, and that was what made things discoverable. And so that's why I'm treading carefully on the verbiage here. But so now that Trump is ahead, he's probably 1,000 steps ahead of everybody else. And well, I mean, I know he is. So it's so now it's a game of, what's the next move, because and it used to, it would plan, 5D chess, right? Trump's playing 5D chess, and in reality is, he's already beyond 5D chess, and he's got surveillance and everything on everybody that's trying to do harm or trying to do something bad, and save the republic. And so it's so I'll kind of leave it at that, because I don't want to cross into territory I shouldn't be crossing into. But there's certain people that were aware, especially someone that's highlighted, was very aware of what was going on to what's going on now. That was happening back then.
Interesting. How is POTUS always 5 steps ahead?
Agreed.
Oof. Oh, okay, buddy. I think he's in a.
Agree with
Oh, he's in Apache area. You're in Apache area right now, brother. Let's
I'll
wait.
be in the better zone.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'll be in the better zone shortly. You guys well.
Here we go. Hold on. Let me. I think you're getting onto a new tower right now. Let me see. Any better? Any better right now, Ghost? There you go. You're bleeding.
I can fine.
Oh boy.
Give me about 5 more minutes, and I'll be in a good place.
There you go. You actually I can actually hear that one clear. But yeah, I mean, I've always been, wondering about these posts, like who is helping POTUS? How is POTUS always 5 steps ahead? And I always wonder about, is there a such thing as like a looking glass? Was that real stuff? Was that BS? That guy that I had seen back in, I don't know what, 2008, maybe 2010, where they were talking about, Project Looking Glass, and essentially what they were saying was that they would put a scenario. I don't know if they would have to visualize a scenario or put a scenario into the computer, but that essentially they could see certain glimpses of the future. And what this guy said back then was essentially after a certain period of time, the timelines basically went into one, and there was nothing that anybody could do to change that timeline. So I don't know if that type of stuff is just grandiose fake interview stuff, or if there's any legitimacy to that. Have you ever heard anything along those lines, Mike?
Yeah, there's legitimacy to it.
Yeah, there is.
As far as it cultivating into one timeline at the end, that I think he's just trying to CYA. But as far as yeah, there's absolutely legitimacy to it. It's yes. As far as go ahead. Oh, he's breaking up.
I gotta get past this. Basically, few choices are left to alter things.
Yes.
In a lot of scenarios right now, so they've kind of run through their many choices, and a lot of this came about because of let's say abuse of certain equipment.
Interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, there's a whole big world going on out there that we have, us regular folks, myself and the folks that are listening have no idea about. And, probably it's better off that way, because if we know what's going on, then the bad guys could be knowing what's going on as well. And I don't know if people could, do you guys think if we knew most of the stuff that was happening and the capabilities of certain things, people would kind of lose their crap, or do they kind of need to ease into some of the stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you think, I mean, here's an example, kind of a theory is with, you have the, what are those little, I forget the name, the cameras that are all across the U.S. and every city, that just sit there on solar power. I'm I need more coffee, trying to think of the name of them. Flock cameras. So
Yes.
I think of the flock cameras, right? Okay, so the flock system is, it's all wrapped up into one thing, and essentially the system, you can go back and review it at any time you want. And the bad part about it, or not the bad part, the other side of the house is that if the bad guys wanted to get a hold of it and use it, like you were saying, if the other side or the bad guys and wanted to, make misuse of it, is that, yeah, they absolutely could. And this is, where it gets into the, the organized crime world. And so if you think of the flock system, and you have the organized crime world, or you have another nation state, trying to, spy on somebody. They can hack into it, and use it to their means, whatever they're going to do with it. Now, if if you have something that's far more superior than that, then yeah, your adversary is going to want to figure what that is, and try to get that information. And so it's, so in the very beginning, like you had your shot spot audio cam systems where the sheriff's department or the police would set it up to where it was the shot spots, to where if a gunshot went off, it would go back to the command center at the sheriff's department, especially here in LA County. It would let them know, like, okay, a gun's been fired, and it's been fired over in this area, this region, down to the two different boulevards that are crossing. And so from that, now it's ramped up to the flock system, and then from the flock system to where we're at today. So so an example theory is with the flock system. You see a lot of people online that are some people are pro, and then you have a lot of people that are very con and against it. That it's they consider it a surveillance state, right? Kind of like how England is. And so you have all these flock cameras all throughout the city. You have all these cameras, like this picture right here.
What are all these? Everywhere.
So that's that'd be like a fast pass, right? So we call that fast pass.
I don't know if this one is, Mike, because so over here, okay, billed by mail. Dude, this is the weirdest thing. This is my state of Rhode Island, and I wanted to show you this, guys, because I've seen so many cameras here. And so wait, are people getting tolls that in the mail? Because I got a thing in the mail a couple weeks ago that said I got a moving violation from Warwick, and it said it's either a toll or a moving violation, but it was $15. And I'm like, or $25, and I'm like, that's too much for a toll, but too little for a speeding ticket. And I don't know what it is, but I just noticed this right here: tractor trailer troll and Easy Pass. But we've never had like a toll booth here, like ever. So maybe they just started charging people and sending them in the mail.
You'll get informed. I in a rental car one time. I taken some roads in Florida, and I forgot to set my navigation app to avoid toll roads. Next thing you know, I had a $85 bill come to me, which was sold.
Oh, damn.
But I just didn't know those particular roads that way. No big deal, but didn't know. But those cameras that you'll see on the side with telling you
oh, damn it.
Yeah. So with
go to the back page and look at the bottom. It can't be used as evidence. Machine. Most people just pay it anyway, assuming without reading the fine print.
Well, it's funny because here in California, if you go through, so if you have the toll little monitor, or your car's registered, then you're paying a monthly subscription to travel down the road to go to the beach or whatever it is. Or you can take a freeway that you're just going to sit in traffic and wait, and you don't have to pay anything. Now, let's say you're going down this and you don't have the device in your window, and you're not subscribed to FastPass or Easy Pass. And here in California, it's a private organization, and essentially it's a private ticket that they're giving you. And so here recently, I got one. I was going down to the Newport Beach Yacht Club, and we got on the freeway, and I got turned around, got on there, and I'm just like, crap, I'm gonna get one of these things. And so I got it in the mail. It was $125,
Damn.
just because I made a mistake, went down the wrong road, hop back on a freeway to get to the yacht club, and it was $125. Well, at the bottom of the ticket, it said if you don't pay the ticket, that this will go to the DMV and count against your as a point against your license.
Wow.
And so here in California, it used to be so before. So we have these right now, and years back, you remember the stoplight cameras? Where if it turned red and you're just across the line, it took a picture of you and sent a ticket to your house because you had either ran a red light or you're just across the white line. And so they got rid of those because of that when there was a lot of things that were wrong with that, and so they came back with these. And here within California, there was an agreement made, I believe, through the state senate here and the governor's office to pass, is to where that they're considered a private ticket. So it's not a ticket from a law enforcement agency or an organization. But
Oh, there we go. You clipped out for like 1 second. Maybe he's gone. Hopefully I didn't lose my signal here. Hold on. Ghost, can you hear me?
Well, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Mike might have went out for a second. We'll let him get back in. Well, he's absolutely right though, because I know in the state of Rhode Island here, because the ex used to get she got like 3 or 4 of those ones that it's like a 25 mile an hour speed zone, and maybe she was doing 30 or whatever, and they mail you the $50 ticket. Well, I had read that in Rhode Island at the time there was no like it doesn't go to the DMV, and they have nothing to back it with. So paid the first one, and then when she got like 2 more, I handed it to her. I said, "You can pay these," I said, "or you cannot pay these." I said, "But there is no suspended license because of this if you don't pay it." And she never paid the other. She never paid the other 2, and never heard a damn thing about it. So yeah, just like Ghost was saying, it's a money making racket. It sounds like you're back, Mike. Okay, good.
How they could tie in California, that's some real hair splitting that constitutionally that shouldn't hold. It's either going to be a municipal ticket, but if it's from a private entity, it's not even evidence in a court of law. And how California got around that, they're really skirting the right to travel, basically. And yeah, that's pretty cheesy to do that, but that's California.
Did you hear what Gavin Newsom wants to do about the $1.776 billion fund that's going to pay people that were unfairly prosecuted or had their rights trolloped under the Biden administration? They decided, or at least he said anyways, Newsom said, "Oh, well, we're going to pass legislation to tax 100% of any payouts from that fund." I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, do you really want anybody living in your state anymore? It's like they don't give a crap, really. They probably want people to leave.
Lawsuit payouts are tax-free. Period. How they can get around that constitutionally? Somebody's got to challenge it, because I don't think the Ninth Circuit would upheld that.
Maybe 5 years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, but not now, because it used to be heavily, way more liberal, and I think it's shaded more towards Trump now. But didn't help us in our lawsuit, that's for sure. Didn't help us in our lawsuit, that's for sure. So where do you guys see things going in the next week or so? Any anything on the menu, or anything you guys are looking out for in particular? Any warning signs or smoke signals?
They watch Cuba, and there's even talk about Puerto Rico eventually becoming a state, not too distant. But keep an eye on Cuba, and then I'd said many months ago, once Cuba was handled, then you would see probably a few players in Central America one or two in South America. Additionally, just getting ahead of it so we don't send teams and puking machines and all that fun stuff to yoink another semi-dictator like
Well, isn't it wasn't
like
the
that.
yeah, Ghost, wasn't the agreement that if we do go into Cuba and it all goes as planned, is that the brother, the father, and the son of the company of Mass Tech was gonna take care of all the infrastructure. So it's like another Halliburton KBR that happened in Iraq, but it's going to be the same version happening in Cuba.
That's what
And
it
so
looks
instead
like.
of oil in Iraq, in Iraq, it's going to be all of the electricity, just basically everything carte blanche of infrastructure that Mastech is going to be handling in Cuba.
What it appears to be, and I just wonder where all the dovetailing of give and take comes from for all of that. When in reality, I would be interested to see what the Cuban demographics of let's say the polls would show with regard to that. You know,
Agree.
yeah, it just seems like another, and it might be a matter of convenience. It might be just the lesser of several evils, but obviously not ideal. Nothing really ever is. You've got competing interests, and then all of the intel and data on how to handle the situation. So on the surface, it may look like, yeah, that's the usual suspects, but then again, there may be a reason for it. However, I think people are watching this stuff much more closely, and they've had it because that is, in a sense, a form of, you're really skirting corruption there. And then what transpires in Cuba itself, that just remains.
Interesting. This is actually right here, guys. I'll read a little of this to you guys. This is a repost from President Trump, retruth Newt Gingrich. And I had like a brain fart for a second there. And I went, wait, Newt Gingrich is alive still? And I was thinking of Rush. For like 2 seconds, I mixed up Newt Gingrich and Rush in my head. He's like, wait, Newt Gingrich is still posting? He's alive? Okay. After spending this week reviewing the Iranian war, I am now convinced President Trump is on the edge of a historic victory. The real breakthrough for me came as I reviewed President Trump's decisions and maneuvers, not from the standpoint of American unilateralism, but from the standpoint of the leader of a remarkable historic coalition. The largest coalition ever put together in the modern Middle East. Everyone understands that Israel is an important ally, but what is little discussed is the depth of support from the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and other countries in the region. It has to be sobering for the Iranian dictatorship to realize that it does not have a single ally willing to challenge the American naval blockade. Slowly, gradually, timidly, our European allies are lining up to help with the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. A great deal of President Trump's maneuvers against Iran make sense once he is seen as a coalition leader and not just as a unilateral American president. Spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks reviewing kinetic options, including winning the Battle of the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, and if necessary, using the shocking and shattering level of force President Nixon and Secretary Kissinger used against Hanoi and Haiphong in Christmas of '72, which both leaders believed convinced the North Vietnamese to agree to a truce and freeing of American POWs. If this were a unilateral American campaign, I could enthusiastically support a more aggressive kinetic campaign. However, it is also clear it would shatter the coalition because our Arab allies are convinced Iran could still do enormous damage to their oil fields and infrastructure. Coalitions are inherently slower than unilateral campaigns. However, coalitions ultimately bring vastly more power to the fight. I am as frustrated as everyone else by the pace of talking with the dictatorship, but having reviewed the correlation of forces and the options available to the coalition on one side and the Iranian religiously motivated dictatorship on the other, I am prepared to assert that President Trump's coalition leadership something almost none of his critics want to acknowledge, is within reach of an enormous historic victory. And if the Iranian dictatorship ultimately proves it is hopelessly committed to a suicidal position, there will be plenty of time for a kinetic campaign of enormous power and effectiveness. Either way, we are on the edge of an astonishing victory for our values and for a safer Middle East. And did you guys, the last thing I'll add to this and let you guys run with it if you like, is did you see President Trump's post last week? He was like, oh, have these people, join the Abraham Accords. Maybe even Iran could join. I thought that was extra cute to add that into it. But, a lot of people that are black-pilled here are just seeing the Susie Wiles type of crap, but they're not seeing what this guy's seeing and what we're seeming to see and other people are seeing. So why are they not seeing it? But anyways, Ghost, you were going to say something? If you're in an area? Let's see.
Is my signal good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay.
as soon as he says
Basically, you can't have. Oh
Go ahead.
God, no. Well,
there you go. You good?
bottom line, they can't have. There's infighting going on there with IRGC and regular military forces, which is a good thing. There's the civilian population that is being trained up. They're getting very close to that and arming them to their level of training, of course, which should be mostly, it's not going to be sophisticated weapon systems. That takes a long time. But basic infantry training, hardcore, you can hit it in 8 to 10 weeks. And so seems like those things are coming together and nobody really talks much about it. And it is going to make all the difference, whether or not we're bogged down on one or both ends of the country versus, the people and the military units who are regular Iranian army that have their heads together and saying, no, we don't want this war. We just want to move forward and get rid of these radicals and the IRGC, the Muslim Brotherhood types, all of that. And I truly believe it's going to work out as intended. And they're just, wow, they're making an art form out of pumping bullshit out to the world and hanging on. Gotta give them credit. Awfully stupid, but they're still doing it. But that simply can't last much longer.
Yeah, it looks to me too like we saw Karg Island at least a couple of weeks ago. Looked like it had oil all over the ground, and from all accounts, that ain't getting any better unless they're able to move oil out of there, which I don't think they are right now. So it's getting very interesting. Mike, anything you wanted to add to that, my man?
Yeah, no, it just like Ghost is saying, what you're saying, it's I'm at the same with you guys, and it's interesting to kind of see where things seeing where things are going, and it's very it's weird, and
A lot of weird stuff.
yeah, and I'm wondering who the backroom players are, because each of these nations have backroom players that are working with each other, and with us, and with Qatar, whoever, and even with other backroom players in Iran. And so I only could speculate. I only could think what I'm analytically thinking, or what I'm just thinking through my gut or intuition, what could be going on, and and just try to look for it, or just whatever just pops out through different information that I'm being sent or read or go over. So it's odd, and one of the other odd things is if we were to go to war with Iran, is the the OMB office, they're looking at a reconciliation to buy foreign-made ships with an approved $1.9 billion through the White House. And so, and those would be constructed into U.S. Navy warships. And the first vessels built would be in Japan and South Korea. And so that came out of the Office of Management and Budget. And so, and it was approved by the White House. And so it's kind of throwing in different parallel lanes, but it's also kind of showing a trajectory.
Yeah, and it's weird too, right? Like, kind of to Newt's post here that nobody's coming to the aid of Iran, and they're good buddies, wink, wink, with Russia, and it's like, all right, Putin, you gonna go in and help Iran? And he's like, well, we got like 200,000 Russians living in Israel, so yeah, pass. And then what was it? China voted to censor, I guess it was, Iran after we bombed them, and then they, for whatever reason, started bombing like the UAE and other neighbors, and they got censored by, I think it was the United Nations, and China actually voted to censor them as well. So their two allies are basically like twiddling their thumbs, looking around, over their shoulder. Like, yeah, I don't know, anybody else going to help these guys? Because we ain't going to do it. And I think you sum it up perfectly, Mike, when you say, the weirdness. Like, we've been seeing so many weird things over these last many years that just don't make sense unless there's something greater to what we're seeing going on, right? Like I say it all the time, like we went over there, we bombed Iran, right? And then we go back and then we stole a president, whether you want to say he's recognized as a president or not, the Venezuelan president. We bombed Iran, we kidnapped a president, we went back for seconds in Iran.
The technical term for what happened to Maduro is he was yoinked.
He was yoinked. I like that. Yeah. He was yoinked right out of there. But again, right? Like nobody said crap about it. Oh, we hit Iran. Looking around. Anybody going to do anything? No. Okay. All right. Well, let's step it up a notch. Let's go kidnap. Let's go yoink Maduro out of Venezuela. Kill all of his Cuban guards. And dude, actually, this is interesting too. Did you happen to see who Ratcliffe brought with him when he went down to Cuba? I thought that was extra special. Maybe you guys can add something to it once I pull this up here. Where is it? We were dropping extra links on the show here. I had it. Let me see. Dropped it last night to the guys. Let me see. I'll just have to pull it up live. Here we go. F it. We'll do it live. I'm looking at here. Where was it? Oh, come on. Come on, Mike. You can find it. Give me 1 second, guys. Trying to look for what I was even trying to find here. All right. Here we go. Here we go. So when Mr. Ratcliffe went down to Cuba, what was it, last week? He went and brought a couple of, apparently, the operators that were in Cuba, were in Venezuela. So I'm pulled it up on the screen finally. May 23rd, when CIA Director John Ratcliffe visited Havana, Cuba for a meeting with senior Cuban officials, he reportedly brought along one of the operators involved in the U.S. mission to capture Nicolas Maduro and introduced the paramilitary leader to the Cubans as the one who killed their people in Venezuela. Dude, what's that about? Show of force?
That's a show of force, and you better say yes or else it's going to happen.
And then we're talking about Raul Castro. What do you peg the odds that we actually do something along the lines of going in and grabbing him? Because he's in his 90s?
Yeah. I mean,
you have a stroke.
Like personally, what would you peg the odds at? do you think they'll go in and snatch him up? Because they're saying that they need to. And Todd Blanche was on TV saying, we don't make these indictments just for paperwork. We do it because we want to indict people. And so to indict him, we have indicted him, but to charge him, we need him here on American soil. I mean,
well, what's the reward on him?
Oof, I don't know. The Raul Castro Award.
Probably $20 million.
Castro reward.
I say we go fishing off Key West this weekend, Mike.
Let's do it. Reward. Let's see.
$20 million fish.
$20 million. That's a big fish. How much is reward? How much? Let's see.
Okay, so I just got this in. So the son of the Cuban president, Manuel Andido Siesta, son of the wife of Cuban president, has today, Monday, May 25th, formalized the purchase of a luxury home valued at €3,175,000. The property is a two-story single-family chalet with a garden, a pool, a garage, and a basement, and a high-end urban area called Lemos del Manzanares in the municipal district near the city of Madrid, known as Pozule de Alacon. The purchase was carried out at the notary office in Dona Alicia Salvateria on Príncipe de Vergara Street, with the bank guarantee deposit formalized at the Banca March branch on Geneva Street. The seller was the former Director General for the Caribbean of Malaya Hotels and Resorts, Felipe de la Cruz, with an office in Miramar, Havana, a Spanish citizen residing in the city of Majadahonda, adjacent to the new mansion of Liz's son. After this transaction of more than €3 million, many Cubans, overwhelmed by blackouts, illness, hunger, and oppression, are wondering where the money came from since Manuel Siesta has no job and no known job.
Wow. Our money?
Looks like some deals are being cut.
Yep. Yeah, that just came in right now.
Oh.
And Spain, it's typical. Because if you ever needed to get a new address really quickly, that's the stay where a lot of people do it.
Yeah, that's where Cuban's counterintelligence director general, he's actually hiding in Spain right now. So if anyone wants a reward or looking to make a lot of money, he's hiding in Spain.
Got the one for $10 million?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Oh, I got a question and a super chat from YouTube. John Dunning dropped a $5 one, says, did the Allied forces ever really break up? China, Russia, UK, and the USA? And I would contend that probably they did, and maybe they're making a truce again. But I would say maybe not the UK. I mean, what do you guys think of the UK? Because
not quite the UK, because you have City of London there.
Yes.
All these four major countries you've named all have had the same issue since prior to World War II, the central banking system. And through that, most conflicts that you've seen post World War II, and even including an aspect of World War II, have been engineered. Now, granted, the reasons why were many. The geographical aspects played a lot into it. And yes, at one level, you had to stop communism, but on another level, it was basically understood that deep states in all of those countries were playing the globalist game. That's not the case anymore. All data points to that. Could it be a massive detour of a ruse to get to the same place, a direct agenda that had been wanted to been realized? It could be. That's what everyone has to keep their eyes on. However, if you have someone like Yuri, I believe his last name is Karnagov, on Tucker Carlson, and at minute 58 into that interview, I would suggest people listening to, when he makes the statement unequivocally that Russia, and I'm not saying anything that I'm paraphrasing a direct quote, that Russia is prepared to destroy. Now, he said these two cities, Berlin and City of London. And Carlson was saying, well, 2 years or 1 year? He was saying, well, 2, but probably closer to 1 when he pressed him. And he followed up with, if we have to be the ones to rid humanity of this evil, then we will do it, and we'll be more than happy to do it. Let that sink in.
And I just found one. I just now, thankfully.
If I were you, look that interview up on YouTube. I believe you can find it. Yuri Karnagov, as it's phonetically sounds, Karnagov, and Tucker Carlson. I think it's about 2 months old now, but he states this point blank. He is the last hour of the interview. And Putin has made various statements. Xi's actions and what he's had to counter with assassinations of underlings that he thought he could trust and had trusted some his entire life, practically. So there's a lot of data points at that level that if people look at, and how smoothly the meetings went with China regarding Iran, China knows a stable Iran is in everyone's best interest. Yeah, we may get the business deal end of it, but that doesn't preclude them from it. And I'm sure some concessions were made with looking the other way with Taiwan, especially since we are rapidly bringing high-grade 3-micron level transistor distance chips back in this country. And that's why Musk created TerraFab, I believe the company's called, and that is to maximize what few machines we have, these 40-ton machines with very specially made optics that only, I believe, Carl Zeiss company makes out of Germany, and then the other components that are made in Netherlands. The Chinese are trying to back engineer that machine. They're at a 2008 level with it. So what you do have in Taiwan is a number of these machines. Now, a counter to them attacking Taiwan would be Taiwan just destroying the machines. Very simple way to do it. I don't know if that's official or not. I'm just saying, in my mind, that'd be a leverage that the Taiwanese have against them, because those chips Taiwan does not export to China. However, certain high-grade NVIDIA chips, for example, have made it to China. That smuggling goes on all the time. But again, that's in the game of getting to the singularity with AI first. And that's what we're doing. And trying to secure rare earth minerals in other parts of the world where traditionally we might not have had as good relations, but now it's different. And desirous of other countries to make relations better with the U.S., because they'd rather have us co-develop the resources rather than have confessions of an economic hitman type stuff from China. And some feel the same with Russia. So yes, that's where we are on that.
This is the clip that I found that I've been looking for here and there during shows. 20 October, so 10/22/2022, former General Secretary of the CPC, Central Committee Hu Jintao was removed from the last meeting of the 20th CPC Congress. And so he was sitting right next to Xi here. And as you see, he's looking over at Xi like, hey, buddy, like, hey, what's going on? And Xi's like, yeah, get the hell out of here. Like, no, sorry, buddy. So I don't know. Is this like a CCP guy? And then we remember, I can't help but think that if they took your father away and put you in an internment camp, the CCP did this, you may have some hard feelings going forward. And that happened to Xi. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys I know he's a good guy or a bad guy, because I don't. But I just find it interesting that this guy was removed, Hu Jintao, right next to Xi, and he's sitting there like, yeah, well, let's get on with it. All right, old man, beat it. So I just thought that was an interesting data point. And then Mike, you had dropped a couple of things as well here. I'm going to start with the who's this jerk off? He's such a. Let's see how he's posing this one.
Oh yeah.
Let's see how this jerk off. Oh God.
It is clear in just this part of the interview that she continues to push all of the investigation and the blame on acting AG Todd Blanche. She said, and I quote, "Acting AG Blanche was managing the entire investigation," end quote. And what you're going to hear in that interview, and what she's saying here in her words and remarks, is that it was Todd Blanche, the current acting AG, that was leading the Epstein investigation. And quite frankly, all of the mistakes that we saw, the redactions, not protecting survivors, she continues to push that back onto the acting AG, Todd Blanche, who, by the way, was Donald Trump's former personal lawyer.
Ooh. I'm very much liking what I've been seeing since Pam Bondi's been gone. And we were told by the drops a long time ago, Mike and Ghost, that essentially President Trump likes the acting positions because it's tough to hit a moving target essentially, and that they can cause destruction and move on. And so ever since Pam Bondi's been gone, we've been seeing rapid fire things coming out here. But I also had heard, again, months ago, and I don't know who's who and what's what now, but I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Peter Tickton was saying that that Blanche was basically blocking some stuff. But again, since Pam Bondi's been out of the scene, things have been kind of cooking along here. So I'd have to listen to her actual quote and not take this guy's exact word for the quote of it, because he's just saying, oh yeah, she's pushing all the blame off, and I would have to see exactly how she tailored her responses to it. But this is getting interesting, and I think it's rapid fire since she's been gone. Oh, and one more thing, guys, before I give you the floor here. Tulsi Gabbard's husband's dying, right? Some bone cancer or something like that. So yeah, she's going to wait a month, and then she's going to go take care of the husband. And then we had John Solomon, I think, here in the very beginning, essentially saying that she's going to go rapid fire, right? And she's going to go out in a blaze of glory. And Catherine Harridge, when posting about her lately, has been posting in all caps, legacy. Tulsi Gabbard did this. So I think that she's going to rapid fire on the way out of here. And maybe that's the case, maybe not. But I have been seeing a lot of moving along with Blanche. So I don't know if you guys have any comments on these guys.
Very quickly, I think Bondi was used as not only a placeholder for timing, yes, but got a number of things lined up and ready to go, so that when Blanche, I think, is doing a very good job, and it's kind of surprising in certain ways for my own reasons, but doing a very good job, and yes, knocking those pins down. And if you look at the timing of it all, it seems an awful lot is rapidly moving towards the nexus point of coalescing everything from Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, other things that are in play for the 4th of July. I think that goal was a goal that even the enemy found hard to figure out what was going to be done, or if they knew, if people look at things very closely, it was set up in such a way and maintained so that very little could be done against that momentum in all of these different directions.
I'm loving it. Mike, anything else you want to add to this particular one, buddy?
No, yeah, I was gonna, I absolutely agree with what Ghost is saying, and with the time, with so I there's some history with Todd, before Trump, became, his second election, came in to be. There was a lot of uh, back room moving around chess pieces, and being part of the or knowing some of the people in those rooms. Uh, I do know Todd was one of them, and so it's very curious to see that Todd is now, coming out, that he's managing the entire investigation. He's blocking this, he's approving that, blocking, some other stuff, and navigating other pipelines. And through Ghost and I's mutual, uh, uh, let's just say, peoples. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see how it kind of backfired. But it's I would really like to see some of the congressional leaders come out and do say what they're going to do and do what they're going to do, what they said, what they've told all of the people in the United States. And reading the reports or reading the names, if that's something that they said they're going to do, then I really hope they uphold their integrity and do what they say they're going to do.
Absolutely. And guys, I don't want to hold you guys too much longer, but there's one more thing I think we would be remiss if we didn't cover, because we did cover this on the show yesterday, and then right when we were done, I was like, oh wait, I can't believe we forgot this. Where is it? So my story earlier about the missing gold, right? There's another piece to that. And Mike, you had dropped another couple things there, but one of those led me to reminding me about this. So let's see. The last one you dropped was this one here. So I'll just pull this one up really quickly. You dropped this talking about the Cuban area, but for some reason, and I don't know why, it reminded me of this, because apparently the guy that has the bunch of gold, that was the CIA agent there that had all the gold, was talking about this allegedly. But this story's been out for about a month anyways, but it's getting new steam now, I guess, because this guy's bringing it back up again. But he's saying investigating a sophisticated theft of 15 agricultural spraying drones from a location in New Jersey. And I'll remind folks, apparently I think this happened a couple years ago, was it? Or a year ago? It wasn't that it just happened a month ago, right? It was.
Yeah, it's not recent.
But then we had all those drones flying around that area. It was just seeming to be that area. But these are agricultural drones that can hold about 40 gallons of fluid and disperse that stuff really quickly. So not a good thing. And apparently, like I said in the text, guys, to me it seemed like a nation level type of hack, or somebody who's very, very competent at doing their stuff, because these guys went up to a logistics center, essentially went to the gate with like a box truck or a tractor trailer, presented ID, presented a bill of lading. They went and grabbed said product, put it on his truck. The truck leaves. They, at the logistics center, called the drone company up. Okay, your packages went out. The drones were picked up. And they were like, huh? What?
Well, yeah, even when they were reviewing the bill of lading in the computer system, someone hacked into the computer system to make sure that the people that were picking up the drones, that they matched everything in the computer system to the drivers and the co-driver that were picking up the cargo. And so these people are very, very sophisticated, to the point that this is you have professionals working on this, to where they're able to get into the logistics centers, receiving person that either has it on his computer system or his tablet, to where they're able to get in and change some of the stuff to make sure it matches. And even on the truck, they made sure that the truck number that they had on the truck matched on the computer screen, so nothing was thrown off. So there was a lot of detail that went into this theft.
Come on,
You
mute button.
guys?
There we go.
You there?
No. I just lost my mute button. I have a button that's not an actual button. It's like a sensor button. And for some reason, if it's got some schmutz on it or something, it doesn't want to let me unmute. But yeah, this stuff is wild. And then people would be, of course, wondering, like, what are they going to do with these drones? And are they going to spray? Because remember, before, I'm sure you guys are well aware, right? Didn't the shoe bomber or something back then? That's why they stopped letting people put fluids. Because I remember, I think it was my cousin who was in the Air Force was telling me about this years ago. He was saying like a very, very small amount of liquid could essentially, and I think I saw this in like a movie as well, can be added to another small amount of liquid as well and can make something very explosive. So if you had 40 gallons of something, and the other drone had the other, and you mix those two, that could be a big, big kaboom. And I'm sure they have much worse things to do than what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, it's possible to create an aerosol bomb with a drone releasing a large amount of very explosive gas that, the, forget what we call them, the type that go down the chute of a tunnel, the thermobaric bomb. Basically, it's a dispersed gas with a high explosive that magnifies the shock wave effect and the usage of oxygen inside of a cave, for example. But I could see that kind of aerosol dispersal being done a drone and then ignited. It would cause a pretty dramatic explosion. I don't know of anything like that that's been done. I'm sure it's more than capable of being done.
Well, even you remember with all the biolabs that have been, had warrants served to them and discovered. If you think about all the biolabs that have been discovered, and now you have all the, you have the missing drones. It's just a what if, and a what if, for definitely for law enforcement investigators to, in conjunction with the biolabs that have been discovered and have not been discovered yet, wherever they may be, when they find them, is that these industrial agricultural drones are used for spraying fields, and so they can be used for all sorts of explosive drone device, but that drone could also just be used for putting some type of nasty fluid in there and fly it over a unfortunate city, and you could have a mass casualty event.
Dude, this is how spaced out I'm at right now. How much? This is what I just put into a chat GPT. You guys are gonna laugh your ass off. How much does 40 pounds of water weigh? 40 pounds of water. Okay. All right, let's try this one. Let's try this one again. How much does 40
gallons?
How much does 40 gallons of water weigh? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Oh my God. Okay, 8.34 pounds per gallon. So if they can hold 40 gallons of fluid, let's just say it can hold almost 335 pounds of fluid, or 40 gallons. That's crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and especially if you can do little stuff. If little things can make big booms, then obviously bigger things can make bigger booms. And this thing right here is very interesting, Mike. This is, I think, the one of the last ones you dropped, which says the communist, narco-terrorist, criminal, and thieving regime in Cuba not only possesses Iranian drones that it intends to use against the United States, but has also maintained active espionage bases for many years that the Chinese and Russians used to spy on U.S. telecoms. The Cuban regime has been a threat to the national security of the United States since '62, when Raul Castro, and the Cuban Communist Party asked the Soviet Union to launch nuclear missiles against Florida. Those same people remain in power. That's crazy. And you got all these different facilities here. Soviet-era facility, abandoned. They're going to be making a new CDAA facility over here.
And so in those facilities, they do go underground. So they go underground quite a few levels.
Yeah, and just like our new what do you call it there? Our new ballroom. You guys buying that one? The ballroom. 6 flights it goes down, and it's got a drone dock thing on top. It's supposed to be an explosion proof, this, that, and the other proof. Pretty interesting.
Makes sense. If you're going to do that, obviously increase the underground facility aspect for safety. The fact that they're putting counter drone and also drone capabilities, they're just keeping up the technology and the let's say the numerically overwhelming potential of drone attacks. Low tech, but there, when you have numbers of any given, whether it's artillery or it's certain types of bombs, numerical does overcome technology at a certain point, whether it be bodies or certain types of equipment.
Oh yeah, it's like there you go.
And yeah, so you would want something for safety, especially against something as nasty and rapid as a drone attack could be. Not a single drone, but hundreds or 1,000.
Yeah.
I just think they're keeping up with the times, and yes, they probably did need better and more modern from the beginning underground facilities for conferencing, war room, whatever has to be done.
Nice.
I don't know why people are, you have that ridiculous narrative out there that he's doing it so he has a place to hide in his lair when he doesn't give up power. I mean, shut up with that nonsense, please.
Right.
If Obama had done it, or Bush, or Monkey Boy Bush had done it, nobody would be, thinking twice about it.
No.
But this man being the figurehead of something very threatening to a lot of people who traditionally held power globally, they're going to take anything he does. I mean, God forbid he farts. They're going to turn it into, he's got colon cancer and not telling anybody, or some shit like that. I mean, he picks his nose. That would be the story of the day. I mean, it's that ridiculous at this point, and people should be seeing that.
I know, right?
Factoring that into their thinking big time.
That's what I've been trying to tell one of my, Democrat ex-coworkers was like, I'm like, yeah, have you ever seen that movie, The Enemy of the State? How like they were all after, Will Smith and the other guy there, Gene Hackman. I'm like, it was like everybody was after him. I said, how can you not see that everybody is up in arms against President Trump, and anything this guy does, it's like, oh my God. I said, and then I gave him the clip of our movement is about, replacing, basically these tyrants in Washington, and we're going to give back power to you, the people. So I've set them up, but they just don't see it. They just see Orange Man bad. And it's hilarious to me because some of these people, they're just never going to get it because they've been brainwashed so badly on it. But it's
if you took the hand of a child to cross the street, they'd say yes, and this points through associates that may be eating children. I mean, that's what they would say. How ridiculous it all is now. It's just such a, excuse my language, but shit show. And
it is.
Anybody falling into that is a moron.
It is, but I got a good one and a funny one and probably a true one from all the things we've heard to wrap up on with us guys, because I appreciate you guys' time today, and I said maybe we'll do it till 2 or maybe 2:30, but I don't want to keep you guys all afternoon on your Friday. But here's a good funny. Ready? I'm gonna let this video play here. Here we go.
For years, we've heard rumors that Justin Trudeau, the former Prime Minister of Canada, could be your half brother. What do you think of that?
The only thing I can say is that his mother used to visit the country very often.
Well, that may be a tell then. I guess that's a half answer.
Yeah.
Do you plan to call him and maybe find out?
No. I won't do it. If he wants, he's going to be welcome, but I won't. I think he keeps that to himself, and you have to respect that.
Wow. I mean,
Ooh,
that's his sister, apparently, Fidel Castro's daughter, responding, and yeah, she used to visit the island quite a bit. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, and I'm just going off of memory here,
Pierre wasn't giving her the pickle because he was gay.
I was just gonna say he likes the boys, like his son, probably.
Yeah. And your daddy's only your daddy because your mama told you so.
That is just bad. And do you guys remember? I don't know if Mike or Ghost, did you ever see this? And maybe I can pull it up quick. But do you remember a couple of years ago he was doing an interview and his friggin' eyebrow fell off? It's like,
No, I don't think
What was that about?
I have no idea.
That was pretty weird. Yeah.
Let me see, Trudeau.
Can you pull that up?
I'll try
Mike, if
to.
you haven't seen it, you got to see that.
It's like, what the hell?
It's like an eyebrow slipped off.
It's like, what? What am I watching here? Let me see. Eyebrow falls off. All right, so we'll add with 2 funnies to the end here.
Well, I guess they couldn't afford the latex or whatever face mask. So yeah.
He went to the $500 version instead of the $70,000 version.
Oh God,
Yeah.
where is it? And of course, it's not coming up anywhere on Twitter right now. But yeah, he was literally sitting there talking, and then the eyebrow, like this eyebrow, was like all of a sudden in the corner of his eye, and it wasn't just like, oh, it looked like maybe his eyebrows fell off or whatever, but it did fall down. It like 100% fell down. Oh please, somebody find this. Let me see. It's so funny. Justin Trudeau.
They never make a big deal about that, Just kind of slips right by, and very little said about it.
Wait, here we go. Which Justin? Here we go. I'm just looking up random stuff here as we're talking. So, are you talking a little thicker Justin, a little thinner Justin? That nose looks a little straighter to me. Could be a different angle.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
they're 2 different people.
Which Justin?
Which one?
Let me see. Maybe they have the eyebrow picture here. Yeah, like what is
What?
that? That's a pasty
Oh, my
looking version of
goodness.
him. And that freckle sure got bigger over here, didn't it?
Yep.
That sure is a thicker freckle. And where are these little imperfections here? That is not. There's not even close. I mean, this. Who knows? This could be from a TV show. I don't know what that. I don't want to say it's a Yeah, it was. He was wearing. He had this. Yeah, and see, look, he's got the no gap in the teeth, and then he's got a little gap in his teeth here. He's Mr. Hairy here, and I'm pretty sure he was Mr. Hairy when the eyebrow fell off. So I don't know. Let's see. Oh, is this it? Oh, here we go. Okay, let's see. 17 seconds. Somebody made a 17.
Previously had overwhelmingly voted.
Turn this crap up.
Moved to the Conservative Party.
Emotional damage.
I think those measures will be enough to win back.
I didn't see it fall out. Oh, so is it this one here? Let me turn this sound off.
Millennial and Gen Z voters who previously had overwhelmingly voted for you, but have now moved to the Conservative Party.
Oh, right there. Is that what it happens? Like, right? Is it this side? This is not a very good copy of it. I will do my best to get it for the next time we're back, but it was pretty obvious, and I could have sworn he was Mr. Bearded Justin Trudeau at the time. I could be mistaken. I mean, I don't even know what day it is half the time, to be honest with you guys. So, but yeah, yeah, it's Friday. Let you guys let Ghost finish the rest of your ride.
I'm
What's
not
it?
hitting the jump. You finish when you want to. I'm enjoying it. Actually.
Oh no,
Making
yeah,
the
that's
drive
cool. Making the drive
go
go.
by quickly.
Well, no problem. Let's see. I don't see if I can find one because I want you to see a good version of this. Justin True eyebrow. How come? Look at. I mean, you even have people that have accounts. Justin Trudeau's eyebrow. Like it was that bad. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
It literally was falling right off, and so I'm having too much fun with this eyebrow scandal. Why you laugh at me? Just a lonely eyebrow, which was not applied correctly. It's true, though. I mean, we're seeing, and again, we're just seeing the weirdest things that have ever transpired. And I think we're in, what do you call it? Uncharted territory here because I cannot explain half the things that we're seeing here. And President Trump's been just going absolutely crazy over here for the last week or so. Let's see if he's got anything newer here. 56 minutes ago, let's refresh. Yeah, nothing in there.
I like Trudeau's pink Nazi outfit that time.
I like the blackface, Justin Trudeau.
Oh yeah, that one was cute too. That's what happens when you have a selected, groomed buffoon. I have a feeling they had put too much money and effort into building him into a prime minister that they realized a little too late. He's a dumbass, but we got to run with it anyway.
Oh God! Let me see. Is this? What is this? Democrat Rep Shri? Oh my God, what is this? Is this an actual image? Painted eyebrows. Look at me in my eyes, MAGA. I'm coming for you and your leader. Oh my word.
Boy.
Vicious Michigan Democrat known for animal cruelty who left 118 beagles in lab to starve is leading Trump impeachment push. This is May 1st, 2025. Wow, that dude doesn't look like a weirdo, huh?
Yeah, what if he has alopecia, wear a wig and painted on eyebrows?
That's the
like David Perry from the JFK days.
He looks like he has a lot of Botox.
Yes, he's got a lot of something. Looks like he's probably like 90, but he looks like he's 50 or so. Let's see. I got a couple of what do you call it? Bookmarks. I bookmarked a little bit ago. So Putin, when we started the construction of Nord Stream, was that a bad thing for the German state, for the German economy? And now when they refuse to buy our energy, is this better for them? And it's interesting that it seemed to me like all of these sanctions that we've done against Russia didn't do anything but help them, because they seem to be making a lot more money now than they were before. And this is Kirill, who in the beginning a lot of people didn't know if this guy was like legit. Is he really with Trump or with Putin, or is he just some dude that's floating conspiracy theories? But he's had a lot of posts out there that have China, an icon for China, Russia, and the United States all shaking hands with each other. We've been told in the drops. We heard Frenchie say it as well. Macron, that they are dead against Europe. We have a Chinese president, a Russian president, and the United States president that are dead against Europe. And it's like, how many people need to get more of a clue? Like, why do you need to say things are not happening when all they need to do is look around and they can actually see what's going on out here? And did you guys see all of the? I guess there's a backlog in super yachts because of the Ukrainians that are buying a bunch of super yachts. Like,
there's a video. I'm gonna send this to you. You're gonna laugh. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
War Shields were mad about my post calling out Zelensky on his propaganda tour, made it appear as if America is his endless piggy bank. His little war cabal tried to community note my post with a poll stating Americans support Ukraine. Of course, they used bogus pollings. Problem for them is, for example, the polling below. A decline to support Ukraine by Americans is real. So I stand by my statement, and I continue to educate the American people on how the war machine functions and how pro-war countries in NATO want this to continue at all costs and expect you, the taxpayer, to foot the bill. They also largely do not want POTUS to be successful with peace because of, quote, Russia bad. And Kirill is saying, true. This is true. So much. They've lost so much support for the, what do you call it? I'm just pulling this link over. They've lost so much support for this. I mean, it was, I think people were fed up with it years, like at least a year ago, at the very least. Done. All right, what do we got? We got a bunch of Arabic writing here, Mike. What is this?
Yeah, I know.
An official in Zelensky's office appeared live on air, putting a substance suspected to be drugs into his mouth after he thought the broadcast hadn't started yet. Oh, God, we got to see this. Let's see. What do you got, buddy? What do you got? Oh, God, we don't need any copyright strikes from that. All right. Oh, a little powder. Wait, his mouth? That ain't his mouth.
His nose.
That was his nose for sure. Yeah, all right. Let's just go back to the replay, Jim. All right, we got a little crush into the hand and Hunter Biden up the nostril. Wow. And so who was this guy? Do we know who he was? An official in Zelensky's office. I mean, dude, they probably have a freaking pool of cocaine in the back. They just walk in and grab a handful and throw it in their pocket.
I believe it. I believe it.
Mr. President, we really appreciate your help. We need more money, please.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I need new latex outfits and high heels.
I need a new outfit for my new scene. That's bad.
Yes, I'm recording it on my $75 million yacht, not my $40 million yacht.
Well, it's crazy because Zelensky's top guy just got caught with all that money.
Yermak,
he got arrested. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Ooh. Andre Yermak.
We gave him up as a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah. And I mean, they have these guys dead to rights. I mean, we even have the former president of. We have Petro Poroshenko of Ukraine on the phone with Joe Biden, literally telling him verbatim, even though we couldn't find nothing this guy did wrong, no crimes, I especially asked him yesterday, for his resignation. Right? And this was the prosecutor that was going after Hunter Biden. That why? Oh, they wanted to get rid of the prosecutor and fire him because he was corrupt. Right? Well, you have it from the very word of Petro Poroshenko, the president of Ukraine at the time, saying, we couldn't find crap on this dude. But hey, I'm honoring my word, and this is me holding my end of the bargain. And Joe Biden said, I agree. And so we have these guys absolutely dead to rights now. It's just a matter of putting them in the clink and getting them to accountability for the matter is what we need to do, obviously.
Right.
Let's see. Where is my next one? I had a couple interesting ones. Speaking of staying in that region, this guy, Mario, is saying that Putin is spending $26 billion trying to live forever, and the methods sound like science fiction. It says, remember that hot mic moment last September when Putin told Xi humans could achieve immortality by replacing their organs? Turns out he wasn't musing. He was describing an actual Kremlin flagship project. Russia's longevity initiative includes 3D printing living human tissue, growing transplantable organs inside genetically compatible mini pigs, cryotherapy chambers that drop to minus 170 degrees, and a new gene therapy designed to slow cellular aging. The stated goal is full human organ replacement by 2030. It puts Putin in the same race as Silicon Valley titans like Bezos, Altman, and Thiel, who are pouring fortunes into beating aging. The difference that in Russia, the pursuit of immortality is now an official state priority, led in part by Putin's own daughter, an endocrinologist. At 73, Putin has spent decades projecting the image of an ageless strongman. Now we're learning just how far he's willing to go to make it real. Wow, he's 73, huh? Wow. Yeah, he does look good. I mean, I don't know how old he was here, but probably 10, 15 years old is my guess. But yeah, I mean, we got him doing this over in the country. Who's that other billionaire that's literally taking blood transfusions from his son in order to stay younger? These people are just don't want to die, apparently, and they want to transfer their consciousness into a machine, which is my opinion is why they're trying to build all these freaking data centers, because they think they'll be able to put their soul into some sort of a machine that can live forever, is my guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's a right guess or not, but that's what my feeling is, my opinion. But you know what opinions are like, right?
Some luck with that. I think that's going to be a little problematic in a lot of ways. I'm trying while I'm driving. Yes, I'm watching what I'm doing. I'm trying to find a picture of Putin I had. They were doing something with his hormones, and it didn't quite work out. And then they had to do something. Well, you'll see it in the picture. I'll get it to you right now.
All right.
Don't find it, of course.
No problems. Don't crash.
So I'm just going around a curve while I'm doing it at 80 miles an hour.
Hey, you're not living. You're not flying. You're not living. Wait, where's my link? Where did my link go?
I'm the one holding up traffic. Here it is. I want to get it to you. I'll drop it in the group.
Okay. Bookmarks. Going back to this one here. Right here. This is what I was going to go into for a quick second. I'll grab Ghost's picture here. Let me see.
There you go. You should have it. It's a nice day of fishing.
I'm guessing that's not real, but we'll show it anyway.
Oh, he had the they did the reduction. Everything worked out good. Now he's back to his manly chest again.
God, hold on a second. You're gonna get me in trouble over here. Oh boy. I'm gonna get a knock on my door later and be like, "Hello? Yes, we have a message for you. Don't ever do that again."
Loud in here again.
All right, really quickly, guys. Here we go. Up on the fishing trip with a set of sea cups.
Not bad looking either, you know.
Oh my word, it's bad. People are getting funny with the whole, the AI stuff. Grok is doing good. Did you see the President Trump put out posts of like the reflecting pool, and then people ran it through AI and put a whole bunch of like Trump 2028, 2032. It's one of them literally says Trump 2028 because F you, like on it, and a whole bunch of different ones. But this I thought was interesting in that I'm not playing this 7-8 minute clip here from Mike Benz, but I'm going to read the headline here. It says Perkins Coie, and if you guys remember from the drops, they were in it from the very beginning. All the way to the end here. The DNC law firm behind the Steele dossier and the Alpha Bank hoax not only represented who? Ray Epps. If you guys remember, Ray Epps was, tomorrow we need to go into the Capitol. And then what do the people say around him? What? Into the Capitol? Fed. It directly funded the DNC branch of the private CIA, NDI, NEDs, and the DNC arm, and the Trust and Safety Professional Association, the censorship industry's formal trade group. So it's like they were trying to run a parallel government or parallel agencies over here or something like that. The DNC branch of the private CIA, NDIs, NEDs, DNC arm. And the best I can gather, guys, is that they are doing a great job in removing the NGO funding. Oh, speaking of, here we go, guys.
Into the Capitol. What?
Listen to what they say.
I'll be arrested. Well, let's not say it. We need to go. I'll say it. All right. We need to go in.
Shut the fuck up, Boomer.
To the Capitol.
Shut the F up, Boomer.
Start speaking. We are going to the Capitol, where our problems are.
So, isn't this interesting, guys? How the only person to essentially talk about Ray Epps in Congress was Jamie Raskin, who literally told people, wait, why are you guys, going after this guy Ray Epps, this poor guy or whatever? And it's like, wait, you're backing this guy up, and just happens to be the only guy that didn't seem to get in trouble. How long is this? Here we go. This might be worth. I mean, because this is just a trip down memory lane, and definitely worth seeing how ridiculous these people are.
Mr. Epps does not work.
Oh no, we're not doing this.
For the FBI. Mr. Epps is not an FBI agent.
Oh God, no, we're not playing. Something happened here. Nope, not doing that right now. Don't need to cut this segment out of the video later on. But yeah, he basically was saying like, you guys are out there going after this guy. He's a Republican. He's your guy. And it's like, no, he told this guy something in his ear. He went over and started pushing the cops. He's telling people to go into the building. But again, never in trouble. Go figure that one out, guys. Go figure that one out. I don't like anything about the way this happened. What do you guys make of him? You guys think he was like some sort of just maybe a source? Or you think he was like he worked at one of the three letters?
So I did during that whole thing, I was working with task force with the DOJ, and from what I heard through a buddy of mine was that Epps was actually got training at some known locations in Virginia, one of them being a pretty good camp named Perry, and also did some training over in Quantico. And so it's very interesting that there was actual receipts and receipts with timestamps that Ray Epps was actually there. And a couple of the guys that were actually on the ground that day over there at the Capitol, there was a coordination with law enforcement inside of the Capitol to basically, essentially, like if you're going, to a ride on a roller coaster, and you're, like have people go in a line. That was what they're supposed to do, is have them go into the building, go through, and then go out of the building, and that was all coordinated. And I had actually, no, I'll leave that portion out and talk to you privately about that. But there was there was a lot more to that day than the public knows about, and if I would hope one day that information, comes out in a book or a movie or, some way, shape, or form, because it's not how it was portrayed, in how they made it portrayed. It was an operation. It was a coordinated event, and it just wasn't some random thing. It didn't happen. Yeah, I'll talk to you offline about that. But yeah, it was something else.
And there's actually information that's coming out in these last couple of weeks as well. I'm just looking through my notes from this last couple of weeks. Oh, this is very telling too, guys. So I'll pop this one up and I thought this was very interesting. This is as of 4 days ago. So essentially, in a nutshell, the Justice Department removed all of the news releases on the January 6th prosecutions because they're claiming that it's essentially partisan propaganda. So where all the Republicans essentially got arrested, all these postings, whatever, that went on their website, they removed, and they said, nope, that's all partisan politics, essentially. That's what was going on there. So that's very interesting. I'm trying to see if I can find this because I know I covered this week sometime. But they were saying that they now know that there was at least, 26 sources that were there, and then that they had actually war game this stuff like a year ahead of time, and they had like run operations, like doing like a dry run essentially on this stuff like a year ahead of time. I think it was, I don't know exactly the date on it. I'm just trying to go off of memory here, but essentially I think it is starting to come out slowly but surely. But it does look like that information.
There's internal video too of certain congressional leaders at that time that didn't know that someone was videotaping, and now those videotapes are now coming out, or have been released by now. So it's pretty damning evidence, that it was a event that was orchestrated, and it just it is what it is, and it's just you can't hide from all the evidence that there is from it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it needs to be, because a lot of people were falsely labeled. Yeah, falsely accused, labeled. And like you said, it was essentially a sightseeing tour through the Capitol, where people mostly stayed inside of the friggin', the little rings there and the whatever the things that guide you in there. And actually, we saw people that were cleaning up garbage later on. But then we also had the other side of it, where it was Antifa-like people that were inside the offices already, being handed, materials in and out of the places. But there was also other weird things. Oh, go ahead, though. Definitely.
Here's a question for you. So there's the Antifa people that were raiding the offices, like Nancy Pelosi's, and so here's a question: were they really Antifa?
Nope.
Yep. There you go.
And so I don't know if you can add anything to this, and I don't know that I'll even be able to find it. But let me pop this one up. We are not, and I'm typing left-handed only. Not here to be Antifa. That was the actual quote in the video. So I don't know that it will come up or not. Let's see. But basically, I think what Mike is kind of shading towards here is that on January 6th, somebody was recording a couple, I think maybe 4 or 5 guys, and these guys were completely covered, head to toe. You couldn't see anything. They had jackets, hoodies, glasses, everything. And one dude appeared to have a bulge in his leather jacket in the front. And people were starting to yell at them, and they're like, we're not here to be Antifa. We're not here to be Antifa. And then later on, another key little nugget to that, Mike, is that Nancy Pelosi didn't use her regular office. And it didn't come out until after January 6th that she didn't, and that she said, I don't know how people found my office, and they went into the office I really use and took stuff out of it. So somebody who had a layout.
They took her hard drive. Yeah.
So somebody took something that was not apparently Antifa, that was dressed up, like everybody that was there that day, and they ran out, and apparently they have it. And then we got the BS story later on about, some girl tried to sell it to Putin. Some guy knows some Russian girl who knew somebody who knew Putin, and that they tried to sell the laptop. And it was like, that's complete BS story in my opinion.
You got to go ask Buffalo Horns. He knows what's going on, I'm sure.
That dipshit. You mean the dipshit that they were going to different doors and locking and unlocking for? Yeah, he's not a plant.
Crisis actor.
Oh my word! Yeah, he's not a plant whatsoever, guys. I really wish we could find this. Oh man, I'll see if I can find it for next time. But I can see it like right in my visual, because it's like they're coming down. I think it's the stairs come from the left side, and they're coming down the stairs, and it's like a tan marble or something, and they're like, "We're not here to be Antifa," and that's exactly the quote. So this is it's good to know that they have this stuff, anyways.
Today
guys.
we're Proud Boys. Tomorrow we will be Antifa.
I mean, it was so bad. Certain people that weren't even in D.C. at the time got friggin' arrested, and not that I'm
just because of their say relationship to a group or their comments. I mean, it was pathetic. That is a sad stain on this country's history. A lot of that, how these people were handled, and they should have restitution. There's where restitution is the right thing to do. But they have to, I'm sure they have to out the entire situation fully, publicly, and then we'll see things like that, because they derailed people's lives for years. That
yes,
it was such a political shit show, and the left mindset, obviously being intellectually inferior, treated as if it was the worst scourge since 9/11. Okay, gee, I remember cities on fire and statues being pulled down and traffic being held up, and all of these. But that's peaceful protest, mind you. The fires, the power outages, Minneapolis, for want of a better term, in how many places? Yet church groups and old ladies and people who had nothing to do with anything just because they were there. And I've told you before, I have a friend, a very dear friend, who saw something and said something. Only what he saw was the COINTELPRO side of it. And thought, well, there's something weird about this, and gave descriptions, kept in touch with the FBI, saw something, said something, thought he was doing the right thing. In 2024, while taking his landlord to her mother's funeral from a southern state all the way to Michigan, on the way back, it's pulled over on the highway on the interstate in Ohio and arrested for seeing something and saying something, but what he saw was something he wasn't supposed to see. And Mike, I believe you helped out with that. And instead of, as they told him while booking him, you're not going to talk to a lawyer for 6 months. Well, he was out in 36 hours back home.
Yep.
It was an egregious abuse of power. And that's the kind of stuff that unfortunately, gives like the FBI a bad name within a lot of people, when the vast majority of them are great people in a somewhat bad system.
Yeah, always a couple bad apples, unfortunately. And
yeah, and they need to close in on them. And Lord knows what's going on with. And I'm not going to comment on like Bongino and what he's saying or other things like that. Don't know if that's engineered. Don't know anything about it. But it'll be interesting to see how that. Several things play out over time. But I think Patel has done an amazing job in the situation he inherited.
Yeah.
Things are getting interesting out there for sure. Mike, sorry, go
Well,
ahead, buddy.
Yeah, and with the FBI, with him being, in the going into the situation he's been in, and from knowing in the inside, there's been a lot of restructuring that he's done, and it's actually been for the positive, compared to how it was run before. And so, he's, a lot of people may have different opinions, but from knowing inside knowledge, he's done a very positive, transformation from what it was. And, like Ghost was saying is, good for him, because most people would just take orders from the person that's telling him what to do, and he didn't do that.
And what's with the Comey bit lately? Oh, wait him out. Just another 2.5 years, wait him out. Where's this crap coming from? If that is not an outward sign of circumstantial evidence towards sedition, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and what makes it worse is that you had John Brennan the week before saying, "Oh, we still have people in there. We still have Legion in there." And so I thought it was interesting timing that the two doofuses would say this in back-to-back weeks. And I'll also remind you, two wonderful folks, that you guys gave me, I don't know if we were on air at the time or not, but you guys gave me a very interesting answer to what Jim Comey and John Brennan were doing on 9/11. I don't know if you can mention that or not, but I will mention that the posts, when we brought these up, they stacked them up in a feature to be like the towers, and I don't remember the number off the top of my head. Here we go. So this is the one I'm talking about here. So this guy, John Brennan, on one week said, "Oh, we still have people in the administration, our Legion," right? And by the way, this post happened to be on September 11th, 2020. And I don't know if it was the next post or the post after. We're going to find out. Nope, I was wrong. The other way. Ding. And so the one before it, John Brennan treason, stacked up like towers is, James Comey treason, James Comey treason, James Comey treason. So I don't know. I just think the timing of this one, guys, that they did it back to back. To me, it's like you said, Ghost. Why would you come on air and admit something like that? And then they did it twice in a row. Oh God, I just copied the wrong copy. Here we go. 4667 paste. How you doing, my boy? How was school today? I said 67. Oh boy, here we go. Apparently, I said 67, guys. 67. Which, by the way,
67.
yeah, parents out there, just understand that it means nothing. It literally means nothing. Like there's nothing to it at all. So it's like, wait, what does that mean? No, there's no meaning to it. All right, so here we go. One more time. And now I'm going to do 65. So were we on air, guys, or off air when you said that last time? Because I don't want you, obviously, you guys know what you can say and can't say. But I asked you guys,
what?
oh, God, I did this stupid thing again. So what I basically asked you guys was, on the drops here, they listed these guys out like the towers, and they made this post on September 11th. So both of these posts are on September 11th. Both of these are set up looking like towers. And so I said to you guys, and this is what I don't remember if it was during the show or just after. I said, what was, James Comey and John Brennan doing, during 9/11? And essentially, I played a post the other day. Well, yeah, I played a post the other day from Mike Benz where he was saying that John Brennan was a station chief and he was signed off on, I forgot how many of the Saudis, how many of the Saudis that allegedly hit the towers visas to come into the country. But one of you guys said, and I don't know if it was about Comey or Brennan or both of them, but you had to me, it was a pretty shocking answer. So I don't know if you can say that on air or not. You remember what you told me? I can text you.
I vaguely do, but it was that shocking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There you go. Just texted it to you.
I mean, you know what? The one thing with Comey before he became the FBI director, when he was an attorney, if you look at the last law office that he came from, in this public knowledge, look at how much money he made at that law office as an attorney. He was the highest paid attorney in the United States.
So why would you go from that to a position paying you $250,000 a year, $300,000, whatever it is? Why would you do that unless you're part of some agenda potentially? Just spitballing here, of course.
Sure.
You'd obviously have an agenda, and it would be ideological, not the idea that he wanted to come in and be a magnificent top law enforcement officer. No, that would be too simplistic. His sense of duty is not to the country, as it appears to me. It's to the agenda he has served, Brennan has served, others have served. And that is coming to the surface every day.
And he was apparently a devout Muslim who speaks Arabic as well. And we've seen examples of that on YouTube. You guys can look it up yourself, where he's actually speaking Arabic. And he used to apparently pray in his office to Mecca. That's cute, isn't it? So yeah, guys, that's
Brennan looks like a lizard with a mask on. Like the mask doesn't hide it that well. I don't know.
You can see the evilness that comes from him.
And that downward turned mouth all the time. His overconfidence and overbloated sense of self. That's usually plays a good part in the downfall of these people. when they practically flaunt, let's say, the coverage that they have. And it's very sad. And somebody like Patel should not be taking the flack he is. If you truly compare side by side the two parties, the three parties rather, how different one is from the other two. I mean, all that flack about him having a couple of beers with a hockey team?
Yeah, alcoholic.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, then he goes. I watched him last week. I just happened to catch it at the right time. It was live, and I love the way Patel excoriated this one senator, as basically making an inference about him being an alcoholic, or if someone were an alcoholic and in the bureau, how would you handle this? And he just clapped back and ate his lunch. And that's the way you have to handle these agenda-driven, compromised morons with the title of senator or congressman. And there's no way around it. I can easily see why many say when they're subpoenaed, if it's not if there's no obstruction of justice involved, telling them to pound sand half the time, because it's just a political shit show for these people, and for them to score points or to maintain a narrative, all of the above and more usually involved. And it's good to see more and more of the population wising up to it, finding out that they don't have as many differences, and that those differences of whatever their political or ideological leanings are not worth the division, when in fact it's the ones they're arguing about who have done nothing but work overtime to create that division, maintain it, feed it, find new ways to divide, feed that, on and on and on. The American people are getting sick of it. And I'm hearing some things that are kind of unsettling. And with regard to very quiet, what you would call patriotic groups, which I'm sure some would be labeled as extremists, when they're in fact not. If you happen to be a member of a right group, you're an extremist automatically. You're a Nazi, you're a fascist, and all of that is nonsensical. And people are finally starting to drop that keyboard warrior crap, more so than they have been, because the bigger picture is really coming into play. I think more and more people are seeing it, and it scares them, as it should. But I'm not saying fear is no. Do I fear to others? No, not at all. But when you're readjusting your thinking to more towards reality, it does solicit fear in people, and that's a good thing to get them learning more, so that they can allay that fear with fact.
Yeah, and I found that clip for you. So I got rid of the first minute, and this is the last 30 seconds where Cash destroys Senator Chris Van Hollen here.
I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No.
And
the only person that ran up a $7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you.
This
so the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime during the day is you.
Director Patel, come on.
The only person that $7,000 bill during the day drinking? He's like, the only person that's drinking during the day here is you. The only person that racked up a $7,000.
And then he hit him with the one who was having margaritas with the gang member that he went to bat for.
Yeah,
I think that was him too. That might have been him as well.
I believe that was him. Yeah. So it's I caught that live. It was a fluke, and I just sat there laughing, enjoying every minute of it. I was like, get him more, give him some more. 'Cause you know he's got it to give.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. I love it when they do that too. Pam Bondi did a pretty good job of it as well, and so did he. I like it when they don't take any crap from these people and basically tell them where to go stuff it. Essentially.
Yeah, because they're making. Oh my God, they've got to be in politics, because if that's the way they are, if he's a lawyer and that's the way he conducts himself, that's a moron.
That's a moron. All right, guys.
That's a moron.
It's getting to that point where my boy is home from school and we're gonna go hang out a little bit because I actually have time. I don't know if I finally told you my move is back and I'm back forth here and still have a couple pictures to hang and I have another desk to build, which will take me about another 2 or 3 hours. But then I'm pretty much done.
We got a lot in common, doing the same thing here.
Isn't it suck?
It does. The carpentry can be fun, but it sucks overall. Yes.
Yeah, dude, it's not fun. And I've told people in the past too. I'm like, my 2 least favorite things. I don't mind. I don't mind painting. Like if somebody else tapes everything off, all right, I'll paint. But I hate taping and
somebody
painting.
Else taped it off.
Yeah, you tape it off, I'll spray it, no problem. And the other thing I can't stand is having to pack everything up and move. And then essentially what I had to do is move twice in the last 2 weeks. I had to move everything out, and then they rehab the whole place, move everything back in. So, like I said before, I got my steps done, and my steps done for the year, guys. Essentially, so let me thank a couple of folks over here. Oh, go ahead, Ghost.
I'd like to say one thing to your wonderful audience. Always a great audience to always enjoy coming on with you. And I just want to bring up, Renee's issue again, and
absolutely
thank the audience immensely for the help they've given. And it needs a little bit of a push now. And
absolutely.
I just, I'm asking on behalf of Mike and Renee, for my own self, that please, if you can, $5, anything you can do to help them, because it's pretty tight with the medications and everything. And Mike can tell you all the details, but I just felt I just had a loss in the family yesterday, and it hurt. It was a hurtful one, and it just brings to mind, the good we can do with people that are still with us that need the help. And so I just want to make that plea to everyone. Please, anything you can give, please go to the GoFundMe link and help out. And again, I'm eternally grateful as a friend to them, and they're very dear to me. And I just wanted to say that.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I want to reiterate it as well, because people have been great and helpful with this. And again, too, you usually get at the end of the day 20, 30,000 people watching this. If every single person just gave $1, you guys wouldn't have any idea how much that would make a big difference. So don't think like, oh, I only got a couple bucks. Believe me, a couple bucks will absolutely help when you rack up the numbers. And if you don't even have $1 or $2 to spare, they will absolutely appreciate the prayers, because prayer in numbers works as well. Mike, I got one guy over here on Pilled, Punk Q Rocker, dropped 317 gold pills over there, and I'm going to release the scratching over there. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, Punk Q Rocker. Always ends in 17 on the pills over there, so I'm releasing those. Mike, anything else you want to say on the way out, brother? Don't feel like you have to be long in detail. We know what you're going through, and I don't want to make you have to like relive and re-talk about that stuff, but we do greatly appreciate you coming on and Ghost coming on with us as well.
Yeah, just thank you for the opportunity and the time, and again, thank you to the audience that's out there, and it absolutely means more than anything that we've ever hoped for, and we're eternally grateful for the help that that there is and that's coming. With the donations, and Ghost is right that the medications are very expensive. We are budgeting the best we can, and and thank you. And, I wish everyone in the audience a great Friday today, and also an amazing weekend, and just have an amazing, beautiful weekend and make the best of it.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too. We got up to 9. I'm in little old Rhode Island here. It got to 90 last week, and I know you hit the West Coast, so it's probably nothing over there. But it was like, oh my word! One day it was 90, and then the next day it was 88, and I got a feeling it's going to be a hot summer. Who knows? Who knows what it's going to be? But nice 72-degree day here today. So thank you guys all for tuning in out there. I also always appreciate all the mods and all their help. Greatly appreciate their selfless help over these many years. And for you guys for hanging out with us. What is today? Friday. I'll be back live with Hulkinator at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and then Matrix Codebreaker 1 p.m. on Sunday. So for Ghost and Mike and myself, we do appreciate each and every one of you. Oh, and by the way, guys, just so you do know, the donation link for Renee is in the description box of all of the channels out there, just so you know. And we do greatly appreciate each and every one of you wonderful world patriots for tuning in out there. And until that next video, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Hello, guys, something special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back for brackets and jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jacket's Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of islands.